earnings with the performances that he's put up over the past year or two. But without further delay, we are straight into the series, ladies and gents. It's Hera in the red playing as the Portuguese on Lenganati, Tatoh in the blue playing as the Romans.
Indeed, and I can let you in on some inside information here.
Ooh.
This is exactly the matchup Tatoh predicted.
Okay.
So Tatoh looks like he knows what Hera wants to do.
Well, let's maybe talk about the civs then, what their strengths are. We'll start with Hera because then you can tell me maybe why it was that Tatoh wanted this matchup.
Yeah, so I don't think Tatoh wanted Portuguese for Hera, but like from the picks Hera has, Portuguese was
good point,
the
good point.
Exactly. Portuguese are pretty good. People know that I love them as well. One of my favorite civs and have been for a long time. But you start with a lot of berries around your town center on this map. And as we can see here, foragers generate wood in addition to food. So it's a very nice bonus for Portuguese. On top of that, there's also very limited gold. And if we look at this, all units cost 20% less gold. So there's some two nice bonuses there that really align. And there's actually, quickly, one more.
Oh.
Look at that. All ships have 10% extra HP. 3 bonuses that all come into play in this. I mean, all text research faster as well.
Honestly,
this is just a perfect civ.
It's just a busted civ. And that's
Yeah.
why the Viper loves it so much. But the
Indeed.
Romans, okay, talk to me about this one of the newer additions to the Age of Empires scene.
Yeah, so Romans on water, like they just have a generic 5% boost on like building faster, collecting faster resources. So economically, they are better off than most other civs as well. However, for water play in this case, like their galleys have +1/+1 armor. But galleys,
Are you going galleys here?
You're not going galleys here. However, I could see a case of dromons later on, right? And Romans have access to dromons. But yeah, otherwise it's like you see they have bonuses for infantry, their scorpions are cheaper, and they can also get ballistics for their scorpions, for example. So it's a bit tricky to say exactly how Tatoh is going to approach this. I say as a caster, pretending I don't know what he wants to do. But yeah, Tatoh is the one who on paper here has to try and make something happen with the civs.
Yeah, I think the point about the gold that we made around the Portuguese is one of the most relevant, right? We've seen a number of maps be largely determined by the control over those extra gold positions. You have to chop through the trees to get there, but castles, TCs, and ultimately playing both sides of the map is going to be important in the late game for these players. But first, we'll take a look at what happens in the feudal age. We have Loom coming in here for Hera, which indicates that he'll be the one to click up first.
This is an interesting approach by Hera. You can see Tatoh is the one, like Hera built his dock first. However, Tatoh was the one who got the fishing ship out first. It looked like Hera did probably less builds on wood in order to get a faster uptime. As we can see right now, Hera is up with just 19 villagers, while Tatoh is going to go up with 20. So slight timing advantage there for Hera. However, if you look in the middle of the map, the amount of fish that is there is like, by the time you're fighting and like the fire ship or demo ships are done fighting, there's no fish left. So is it actually worth overinvesting to fight for the water?
This has been the question throughout the whole tournament, right? Mm-hmm. And I think it's still yet to be answered. We've seen a number of players choose to just not even build a single fire ship and contest, say, fine, you maybe get 100, 200 extra food, but it's at the cost of a fire galley, and I can put my focus into something else. We haven't seen too much action here in the Dark Age. Sometimes there are questions about whether or not a scout is going to find a cheeky snipe on one of those villagers that come forward, but we haven't gotten that just yet. 2 lumber camps now for Tatoh as he makes his way to the feudal age. Just a minute out and 40 seconds here for Hera.
Indeed, and we see Hera going with a single lumber camp, which means that his build is a bit more tight. He might be planning to make a barracks fast. As we can see, the barracks goes down right away. So Hera loves his scouts, right? I imagine this is a play to do maybe 1 fire galley to try and win the water, because you have the 10% extra HP, right? So on paper, maybe you think, okay, my opponent is maximum making 1 fire galley himself, or maybe he makes maximum 1 demo. So either way, Hera thinks he's going to win water without contesting it, and then he's just going to play scouts to take the map control.
All right, there we go. Fire galley in the queue, double bid axe on the way. Barracks will complete. And we'll see what his follow-up is there. Again, we expect to see the stable. The barracks forward here for Tatoh, using those 2 villagers that were previously on the shorefish, and hits feudal age as we speak.
Great scouting here by Hera. He knows everything that is going on right now. As we see Tatoh only queuing up 1 spearman for now. He's not doing a fire galley, so he's not spending gold on anything, and he's mining gold right now. So where is that gold going to go is the question.
Yeah, a definite question to be answered. I mean, again, I love the Spearman because the expectation is Hera, with his favorite unit in the Scout, will be producing a number of those. So wants to make sure that he's keeping his villagers safe, and looks like he's willing to let go of the water control and the remaining fish out there in the center pond. We also have Hera now moving out for gold, so thinking about a transition himself.
Indeed. The funny thing here is, if Tatoh would have actually gone water, he would have probably won it, because Hera did not start taking gold until now. But that's the thing, right? Hera thinks that Tatoh knows that Hera should win water. So therefore, Hera does not do it because he thinks and thinks and thinks, you know?
See, this is the great thing about being a caster. I don't go through those mental gymnastics like
Exactly.
you do. It must be hard being a pro and playing all those mind games.
Yeah, indeed. But that's part of the charm, right? There's so many saves, so many bonuses, and that's what makes this game beautiful.
All right, Spearman engagement, but Tatoh has the closer reinforcements. The Fire Galley trying to lend a hand, and it looks like Tatoh will just retreat with the Villagers for now after getting one Spearman pick. We are tracking it, though, for Hera, something he is so very good at, right? Just awareness of his opponent's movements, looking for those weak villagers, tracking them so that he might later be able to snipe them with a couple scouts that roll forward. But still yet not seeing a ton of that gold put to use. With 7 on gold, we did see an archery range going up. We already have an archery range here for Tatoh, and now the blacksmith to follow.
Yeah, and we can see that Hera did not go blindly for a stable. He did wait, he did scout, and he did adapt to the information he found, right? He saw there was only barracks there. Normally, like if you build a barracks, usually your follow-up building is coming somewhat next to the barracks as well, right? And Hera did not see anything, so he did not make any scouts. He just goes to range, and now he's kind of doing a fast castle here, while Tatoh is investing quite heavily in feudal age.
Yeah, moonwalking his way to find more scouting information. Here's the big difference I notice at this point, Vipers. The resources in the bank. 600 food, almost 200 gold, just hitting it now for Hera. With the market going up, suggests to me he wants to make it to Castle Age as quickly as possible. Tatoh investing in Horse Collar, he's light years away.
Yeah, exactly. Hera also using that market as part of a wall off, I imagine, will come off to the woodline. And then we see Tatoh is kind of blind, right? His scout is out on the map, but I'm not sure what his scout is doing right now. It looks like
going
it's
far to the left-hand side.
Yeah, he should be around Hera's base, constantly checking for information right now, because he's kind of blindly patrolling in front of his dock, and like he's fighting a fire galley that is not contributing to the game anymore for Hera even. So this is looking really dangerous because Hera will have a crazy fast castle each time. He's going to make archers himself as well, and he has, for the first moments, he will have the defender's advantage as well. So I don't see much damage for Tatoh here.
Yeah, fletching is on the way, and he's now rolling forward with that military. He did catch the walling attempt here by Hera on the left-hand side, so leaving his scout there to stay aware of it, and may look for some damage onto that wood line if he can get in before the walls come up. And he'll need to find some damage given the fact that his opponent is only a minute and 20 seconds away from the castle age.
Indeed, and we see Tatoh is like, he has 0 food in the bank right now. And Hera did see the scout, so Hera is expecting, okay, if Tatoh is going to come in, this is where it's going to come from. And Hera on point here, playing super safe, not taking any risks. And yeah, he's just like, right now, he has scouted, adapted, and Tatoh feels like he can't do anything right now.
I was going to say, in some ways, with that final house being built, it feels like he's nullified the entire offensive push here from Tatoh because he's forcing him to rotate all the way around the other side if he wants to get into any kind of exposed eco in that wood line. We have a little bit of a dance here at the front of Hera's base. 4 archers getting a nice pick on the spears, but don't want to overextend too much with the scout presence that Tatoh has, along with a few more archers linking up in that group.
Indeed, and I guarantee you, the second Hera saw that Tatoh added a second scout as well, Hera was happy. He knows that that's going to further delay Tato's castle age, and despite the pressure coming in here, I still think Hera's going to feel really comfortable.
Say small opportunity for some damage here for Tatoh if the micro is on point. Again, he does have fletching to match the fletching of Hera, and at least is controlling the hill around this gold. It's only 1 scout to 2, and so Hera is playing this very tentatively.
Yeah, and Hera's not doing any upgrades in castle age yet. No bodkin, no crossbow, so right now they're fighting on the same terms.
That's very intriguing, to say the least. I'm looking to see where his resources are going then, because Bosa, he still has 200 food, 100 gold, right? That could be the bodkin. It's a knight. We saw the stable going up on the left-hand side, and it's going to be a full transition into the cavalry. I mean, a very mobile unit, right? Once again, something that Hera is so good at utilizing.
Yeah, very surprising, though, that he doesn't do crossbow or bodkin arrow here. He has 6 archers, right? And they can do... Okay, bodkin is coming in now. They can do a lot of damage, but Hera is doing the bosa. He has no horse collar still, but again, the fact that Hera I can't say names. Tatoh was aggressive here, buys Tatoh a lot of time. This is super crucial for Tatoh, because if Tatoh was still sitting at home, Hera could come forward with crossbows, bodkin, and then Tatoh is in big trouble.
And this army feels trapped, right? So I think the question becomes, can Tatoh find any damage here before those big upgrades come in and Hera cleans it up? We have more house walling around the lumber camps. The archers are trying to hunt down the archers of Tatoh. We're still waiting for the knights to come over. Maybe the knights go forward for a counterattack while he just tracks this ranged force, and that's exactly what's happening.
When the knight is running straight under the town center, Tatoh has not spotted this, yes, but he is ready with 2 spearmen. And the damage Tatoh is doing here is not damage to Hera, but it's counter damage. Like, he's not taking damage himself.
Right.
This army is keeping the whole crossbow or archer army of Tatoh at home, and that's massive right now. You can see resources collected. Tatoh is healthily ahead, right? And Tatoh is on the way to castle age. So Tatoh with this army he has managed to keep Hera in his space and therefore not taking any damage himself.
Yeah, even forcing the next knight that's created to come back to help clean this up. Has 2 minutes to go until he can reach the Castle Age. Now, did lose at least one villager at home to the raid of the night. And that is the only one that Hera will find. Tries to find the Wallingville over here, but the two spearmen maybe gets away with it just by the hair on his chinny chin chin.
On his chinny chin chin, indeed. Well, by the way, by the time Tatoh, Hera, my name, I'm switching names all the
time. Okay, get there eventually.
By the time Hera crosses the map, he picks up the knight, by the way.
Sweet.
By the time Hera crosses the map here, Tatoh will be fully walled. So Hera still, again, not committing on crossbow. He has 4 archers. He's not making any more archers. Just a few knights to control the pace of the game. And then he's adding town centers behind. He did horse collar. So very economic approach from Hera, despite like a super fast castle age.
I mean, this is something that I was actually just talking to T90 about in terms of what pro players do so well that everyone below them can normally struggle with is building the minimum amount of necessary military, right? To contest on the map and then use all the rest of your resources to build into that economy. And once again, something that Hera does, you know, near the best in the scene. Yeah. And with that, as he has the initiative and is forward on Tato's base, that second TC comes up. 10 seconds until Tatoh reaches the Castle Age, though, and has an opportunity to respond.
Indeed. Just what you spoke about as well. It's a lot of people look at it and they think, oh, he's being greedy. But it's also a very calculated risk, right? You take those risks, you feel confident in that you're able to defend with that amount of units like Hera has done in this game. Sometimes it backfires, though, as we also see.
Yep.
But yeah, in this game it has worked out perfectly for Hera. And again, like we'll see yet if the approach turns out to be correct. I personally think if you get that Castle Age time, maybe just like getting forward and getting the pressure and aggression on the other side is what you really want. As we see Tatoh here now, just dropping a TC in defense and going for a counterattack.
Yeah, look at that. Crossbow Bodkin coming in, going forward with the range units while the walls will play defense for him. Getting the TC up on the gold. Again, all important gold positions. You only have 4 total tiles back at home, so securing those before you make your way out to the wood lines and free up some more gold for yourself is ultra important. He does have more crossbows creating, and I think that's going to be a solid defense against just archers with Bodkin on the other side. Walls are not complete yet for Hera, so we're going to go ahead and watch the vision to see if Tatoh could find some damage.
Tatoh wants to go to the hill on the gold immediately, because with the hill he will be able to one-shot these villagers, but Hera, reaction on point.
Great reaction, but at the very least forces the Vills off of gold for now. He is going to get a peek at that villager attempting to wall. Bop, 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 as Dave would say. And we have a market coming down as well, but we're going to be delayed in getting that up.
Indeed, walls are weak, and again, Hera with the, in quotes, underproduction of units. Right now, he doesn't have too many units to defend. I think all those knights don't have full HP as well. He has been healing a little bit, but these 3 knights, without any upgrades, they cannot take the fight against the crossbow.
Yeah, they might have forging, so they'll do damage when they get in, but they're definitely going to take a lot of damage on their way. Look at that, evacuating the wood line right away, and I think that's a very heads-up play. You know that at best, you'd have to run under the TC to chase those, and so has the freedom to stretch out and continue to expand his eco onto a 3rd TC. Tatoh going for a 3rd of his own back at home.
Yeah, very, very close game right now. Did Hera add fishing traps in the middle with his 2 fishing ships? He did indeed. So that's like, you fought for this, is it worth it? Yeah, you might as well drop 2 fishing traps, right? To make sure you have consistent income there as well. But yeah, resources collected, very, very close. Tatoh actually with a slight lead, despite Hera adding town centers earlier.
Yeah. I'm actually wondering where exactly that comes from, to be honest.
5%.
Ah, it's 5%. The Romans bonus.
Exactly
That you called out at the beginning of the game. We have Hera already the first to move out to one of those extra gold positions and to begin chopping his way into it. That could become superbly relevant later in the game. We've seen a number of games on this map be decided by control over those golds. And how about this transition here from Tatoh into infantry?
Infantry from the Romans. They get double benefits from the armor upgrades in the blacksmith. So on paper, these long swords, presumably, will have pretty much Imperial Age armor upgrades. So Hera at the moment, he has made 1 or 2 scorpions to defend. He has a few knights on the map and 4 archers. Like Hera is not committed on anything right now.
Yeah.
He's kind of in the middle, waiting to see what's coming and going to adapt to what Tatoh does. But soon, I mean, we don't know. The barracks is in the middle of the map for Tatoh. He will surely add more barracks soon. Question is, how long will it take for Hera to notice that, and what is Hera's response going to be?
I was going to say, because one of my concerns here is already seeing 6 villagers on stone for Hera, and as he's playing the Portuguese, they love to build into a gunpowder unit. Gunpowder against infantry generally spells disaster for the infantry, and castles for control over those gold positions are very, very important. There's one of those extra barracks now. Doesn't look like Hera has information on that just yet, but continuing to invest into more stone production so that he can eventually switch onto those organ guns.
Yeah, and he's almost chopped through on the, like we have the 4 golds on the map here, very important because you have to chop through a layer of wood in order to access that gold. And we can see it's almost through to the point where you can probably delete the lumber camp and make a town center maybe. I wonder though, where is his first castle going to go right? He might have to just do a defensive castle in reaction to the pressure that Tatoh will probably put with the infantry. But I'm sure as well he would love to get a castle a bit forward.
Yeah, goes ahead and scouts with these archers that he's been able to keep alive since the feudal age. Also bringing a few knights forward to see if he can clean up the crossbows here from Tatoh. These knights have the first armor at this point in the game and do get a couple quick kills. And now Tatoh has to delete the monastery position and retreat behind his walls.
That was fantastic micro by Hera, pulling the low HP knight back and then realizing that Tatoh would switch the focus to the archer. He also pulled the archers to the side, so massive credit to Hera for that small micro engagement as Tatoh picks off that hard-fought fishing economy.
Yeah, 4 TC going up in the back there for Hera, but I do believe he's yet to see the longsword. We saw Vodka checking the vision there, longsword rather, just outside the fog of war. Ooh, but there's the barracks with the flag on it, and that's all he needs to know.
But the question is, did he actually notice it? The knight just runs past the barracks in the middle of the map. You don't expect there to be anything there, so you might not check.
Wheelbarrow on the way, and pikemen as well here for Tatoh. So if Hera continues to index into knights, that could be a very scary army composition for him to run into. But we saw a couple more archers in the queue, and crossbow now behind it. Along with scorpions, I mean, this is a pretty solid army composition in the end to go up against infantry only.
Indeed, but those infantry units are cheap as well, so if Tatoh can get the numbers out, one thing that we haven't checked is Tato's stone count. He has been working on the stone as well, and those villagers that Hera did not see are about to go forward.
Yeah, we'll see where they decide to drop a castle position because Hera did go for a defensive one, as we can see on that mini-map, but we have an engagement at the front here. The infantry running into the knights, getting good damage, but no picks just yet. Now the longswords turning their attention onto the scorpions, the crossbows as well. Beautiful split out of Tatoh to dodge that harpoon, and now we have a full engagement between very diverse armies between the two players. Hera thinks he doesn't get the better of it and is trying to retreat back to the safety of his own castle. Tatoh, look at that placement. He doesn't know about this castle just yet. He might be surprised as he comes forward.
He should find out. He should see it right now. Question now is, does Tatoh remove the castle and place it somewhere else? He could technically go to the castle now on the other side and deny the gold completely without contesting Hera's castle at all.
That's exactly what he's going to try to do. I love the number of villagers that he brought forward, right? This could be a throwing moment if you under-invest in getting this aggressive castle up. Now Hera's going to try and get some damage done by taking the hill here with the knights and having some crossbows behind, but the numbers are too big here for Tatoh, and Hera will have to fall back.
Indeed, but in doing this pressure, Tatoh has also what we don't see on the screen right now. The idle TC time is up to 9 minutes, and he's suddenly 20 villages behind Hera. So economically, there's been a massive investment for Tatoh, and we'll see Hera's food count right now. He's pretty much ready to go to the Imperial Age the second he decides to maybe use the market a bit to add some gold to his stockpile.
They may be cheaper infantry, but they still require food investment. And for Hera, he hasn't overinvested in any military that requires food. Another tower as well, just in case Hera wants to try and stick around on that gold. So Hera's going to relocate, and this will cause a delay in his gold income, to say the least. Might have to use some market, like you see there, food for gold, to get himself up to the Imperial Age. And it looks like Tatoh, by dropping a Siege Workshop, is thinking about pushing his foot on the gas.
This is a full castle play from Tatoh, and you know why? Hera has no access to gold right now. He has a little bit of gold left in his base. Look, he's migrating to the other side, and there's no access to gold. So now Hera has to make a decision. Do I invest all the gold I have to go to Imperial Age? Seems to be the answer is yes. Or do I stay in Castle Age to make units? Imperial Age is the choice, and like, where's the gold going to come from for the production of units right now?
Yeah, that's an incredible risk, right? You get to the Imperial Age just to be able to get none of the upgrades, and it could spell disaster for you.
Zero gold! Zero!
He does have a little bit left in that gold pile. Vodka, I don't know if you can click it for us and give us some. 72! What's that enough for? One night?
Well, oh wait, he just spent it, so I don't know. One crossbow. Oh wait, he canceled the production again. Yeah,
gotcha.
He needs to save for a trebuchet, right? He needs a trebuchet to clean the castle. But look at Tatoh. Tato's coming to tower the other side.
Oh, you love to see it. Also going for the stone mining upgrade as well to make sure that he could maybe drop another forward castle and completely strangle his opponent out of the game. We already see Hera switching onto the light cab, knowing that he's going to have to invest into food and wood-related units, at least for the time being, to keep himself alive in this game. Scorpion production is on the way here for Tatoh as he wants to put siege pressure on the left-hand side. Tower about to complete, and Hera is aware of it now. Probably doesn't have the time to stop it. It is only 2 villagers, but it's only 1 crossbow there to try and get in the way. Guard tower, too, on top of all of that, will be making it very hard to clean up.
Yeah, but at the same time, Hera has 130 villagers. His economy is pretty much set for Imperial Age right now. Only thing missing is gold income. He has 70 vills on wood right now. He can sell a lot, like we already see, right? So he's going to be able to still afford playing. Oh, he's buying a castle. He's doing a castle to clear out the guard tower. But Tatoh will just go and put a new guard tower on the bottom.
Yeah, prices are okay right now, so he can continue to abuse the market. This castle position is to try and wrestle at least 1 gold position off of the map for himself. Doesn't look like Tatoh has too much in the way of being able to stop this, but he is continuing to go full throttle on the other side, even forcing a watchtower up. The pikes are going to dive underneath the TC. They don't really care. That's a fine, efficient trade as long as they can make the eco messy. 10 seconds away from the Imperial Age for Hera. The question is, what are going to be the techs that he prioritizes with such minimal amounts of gold? Does have 2 relics. Managed to grab those at some point in the game, and that'll help a little bit with the trickle of gold.
Indeed, but as long as Hera cannot make too many gold units, Tatoh can still continue making Spearman, maybe a few more longswords, some mangonels, some skirms maybe, and Hera will still not have units that can kill that, despite being in the Imperial Age here. Hera doing Bracer first and a Trebuchet, so Bracer just to give his 10 crossbow the maximum potential to do damage, or hold the ground rather, and then the Trebuchet to start cleaning the towers.
How about this, going forward for a new gold position, because Tatoh did follow what you had predicted and dropped another guard tower in a more southerly position to prevent Hera from getting onto that gold. Still has to chop through 3 layers of trees before he can open that resource up to himself, and the pressure continues on the left-hand side. What's the answer for Hera? Is it more about defense, or do you have to try and split the map and almost threaten a base trade?
Looks like Hera is comfortable just continuing to add farms as he does every single game. But yeah, he just wants the trebuchets to slowly clean up the area around the gold, and then he'll start mining it. And then he'll use, for now, the crossbow aggressively with Bracer. He's also doing chemistry right now, so he's still able to get a few upgrades. Like, he's not producing more, like he has crossbows in production right now. But still, with Bracer and Imperial Age upgrades, those crossbows can do a lot of damage to Castle Age units, despite the infantry having Imperial Age, in quotes, upgrades.
Right, exactly. And having that range, it doesn't really matter. As long as he has the micro, he can continue to walk backwards while eliminating a number of these infantry, and at the very least, he's forcing Tatoh to keep producing. Tatoh nowhere close to making it to the Imperial Age, so continuing to invest in Castle, continuing to use the market to keep the production up. Has taken 1 TC off the map, but you can see the blinking castle on the left-hand side. That's the one that Hera is trying to clean up so he can get access back to that gold.
Indeed. We see Tatoh now as well. He has stone for another castle again, as we have a little bit of a slowdown. Tatoh... something happened here.
Game pause.
Hopefully nothing severe. Either way, Tatoh has enough stone for another cast. We'll see if he uses that offensively or defensively. Probably defensively at this point. But
there's your answer.
We have been speaking about Hera having no gold. Tatoh doesn't have gold either.
I know. Yeah, that's really tricky, right? He was the first to move, or rather the second to move out, but his focus has been on killing his opponent and pushing the pressure forward. He is going into light cav himself and some armor upgrades, but he isn't even going to match those that Hera has come in with. We've got the infantry trying to clean up the crossbows, and they'll be able to push them away in the moment. Has freed up that gold, so we'll wait to see if and when a mining camp does get dropped. I think Hera's feeling pretty comfortable in his position, that he has weathered a fair amount of the storm and at least has the trebuchets onto the field. But when he was thinking about going forward, Tatoh's going to now start to rotate the pressure over to the other side.
Indeed, Tatoh still with the numbers advantage, as we see Hera adding some handgunners as well. Handgunners would be great here to just pick off siege from distance because they have such high damage. So it looks like he's going to hold this quite nicely, and yeah, those handgunners will clean up everything here with the proper micro. And yeah, Tatoh just calls the GG. He knows he's permanently stuck in Castle Age. 0 gold in the bank, 0 in gold income, and yeah, fighting against Imperial Age technologies. When you already felt like you were behind the whole game, that's not going to work. So very well played to Tatoh. He takes it 1-0. And a great start for him in this set.
Yeah, you know, took the risk to go forward and try and force Hera off of the gold, control those very important positions, but a masterful eco balance there by Hera meant that he was able to get to the Castle Age cleanly. And again, that goes back to what we were talking about. One of the things that I think Hera does the best is minimal numbers of units while being picture perfect with his eco. There's very rarely a time when he's got the wood for a farm, and he's not placing one.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, what was beautiful about this game was Hera's opening, right? He just went for the safe opening, you make one Fire Galley and adapt. He didn't commit to anything from the start. He knew that he has on paper maybe the better Civ, so he just plays it safe. You see what's coming and make sure you make the right reaction. And like here we saw there was no aggression coming, no matter arms, because he knew the barracks timing, no scouts, no range early on forward, right? So he could always just sit back, go to Castlage right away and just take it from there.
Like you said, though, Portuguese is a Civ to be feared on that map, and it was
Every map.
Well, every map
Every
is
map.
fair, exactly, and it was Hera's first pick
Yeah.
for a reason. Now, Tato's second pick did fall to it in the Romans, but with map choice, it is assumed that Tatoh will reach for one of his two home maps to follow. Has the option of all four, of course. I think typically when you take the first loss, my assumption is you go for comfort just to try and equalize the series. I think when it comes to match point, that's where the discussion becomes more interesting.
So he has multiple options there. I just want to point out first, like Romans as Tato's second pick, like Hera is not known for picking Romans.
Right.
So I'm very surprised that Tatoh picked Romans so early. But yeah, on your question, like Hera's like Tatoh has to win 3 games no matter what, right? One of those games now have to be from Hera's home maps. So if he doesn't want to show his strategies on his own home maps, there is an idea that maybe you pick Hera's home maps, and let's say Hera wins again, just go for Hera's third home map, right?
Right.
You have to win all the remaining
That was
games
Jordan's
anyway.
approach. Yes.
Exactly.
Right.
There is an argument that you can approach it like that, but of course, if you're still feeling good and you want to like make sure you just get a win on the board, so you could like get some confidence back, maybe.
Right.
Picking a comfort zone map, like for example Arena, we see Hera, Tatoh has Burgundians here, right? Very likely for Arena or Copenhagen. So maybe that's a comfort pick that Tatoh needs to reclaim some confidence.
Yeah, I mean, I guess especially considering that these guys are at the top of the table, it makes a little bit more sense that you're less concerned about map score, right? Typically, I would argue, okay, if you're in a lower position in the standings, you really should index into your own maps because those map wins, map score can be a little bit more relevant. Both these guys are guaranteed into the top 8 and are, in fact, playing for a top 2 position. And to your point, maybe they want to protect then some of their strategies that they could utilize later on in the tournament and not expose them here. So a lot of things to be considered when it comes to picking maps, picking civs. And it's not all just in the game. I think some people can forget that when it comes to pro play.
Yeah, there's a lot of, like when I played Tatoh as well earlier in the tournament, we have obviously trained a lot together, so we kind of tried to avoid the more tricky maps with tricky strategies. So we wanted to like prevent showing our secrets, if that makes sense. But also like one thing to mention here as well with this match right now is like if they guarantee the semifinals, they're very likely to not face each other. Like they won't face each other until semifinals as well, right? And currently these are the 2 best performing players.
Right.
You don't want to face up against each other in quarterfinals, for example, right?
Yeah, get knocked out in 6 just by virtue of the matchup.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, there's a lot of value in just making sure that you finish as high as possible here in the Swiss group stage.
Yeah,
Both these players are so wildly experienced, though. I think, again, even in a high-pressure matchup, Tato's not going to be too shaken out off of this.
No, for sure not.
Fully focused on what's coming up next.
Tatoh is very mentally strong as well, right? He has been on both sides of this situation. He has played numerous tournaments against Hera as well. And yeah, I think both players are going all out though. I don't think any of them wants to lose this set, right? It's like also for your own confidence levels, but also like just to really nail down that, oh, I was the best performing player in the group stage.
I was going to say, let's be honest, you have to have an ego to be a top level pro.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, it just comes with the territory. And so pride on the line in a very big way for both of these guys. Burgundians, Armenians, Berbers, Poles, Burmese. Just getting a refresher on the civs for each of these players. Those 5 are Tato's. For Hera, it's Bengalis, Georgians, Aztecs, Khmer, and Persians.
I wonder if we might get a mule cart fight on Rocky Forest, right? Because the woodline, like the rocky terrain where you cannot build the lumber camps.
You can
right?
block.
You can, yeah. But you want the mule carts to have efficient wood income, right? And both of them have 1 civ with mule carts. Armenians seems like a very natural choice there. However, Georgians, I feel like they can play multiple maps. So we'll see if that's what Hera is going to go for. But yeah, we have seen Hera play Armenians twice already this tournament on Rocky Forest. So Tatoh grabbing that before Hera.
Yeah, stealing it away.
Exactly.
Rocky Forest, of course, yeah, very aggressive map for the fact that you can't get a lot of that walling in. But to answer our earlier question, Tatoh is going to reach into his home map pool and take us to Copenhagen for the second game of the set. It's going to be Tatoh in the blue playing as the Berbers, Hera as the Bengalis in the red. We saw this matchup already today in Jordan versus freaking Andy.
Yeah, and Jordan was able to win that game with the Berbers. But I would say at stages it definitely looked like the Bengalis player was actually ahead. Economically for sure, and then Jordan had some really good finds with Camel Archers in order to deny a Castler and Town Center from Andy. So this matchup is like on paper you'll think Berber's unique units are Camel Archers. They have really good bonus damage against Ratha, for example, and Elephant Archers. As we see here, Berbers as well, unique. They are Navy and Cavalry Civs, so they have benefits on the water on both sides as well, because the ships will move 10% faster.
Yeah, and then as you mentioned, a bonus here for the Navy on the side of Bengalis, which of course is that the ships regenerate. So it's kind of the battle of what we saw actually Jordan make massive use out of the movement speed in that he was winning the micro battle while Andy was trying to take prolonged fights and let that regeneration really kick in. Of course, stronger monks as well is nothing to scoff at here on this map, where both players will almost certainly produce many of those. And then the Ratha, a very interesting, unique unit as castles become all about control on this map.
Indeed. Bengal is also getting 2 extra villagers for free upon reaching the next age, so we'll see Hera pulling ahead in the villagers. However, Tatoh, right now, the villagers move 5% faster, and they will be faster and faster as the game progresses, as he advances through the next stages there. But we see Hera with a super fast uptime here. It's going to be a solid, almost a minute in front of Tatoh.
2 villagers ahead. It's a 17 eco-unit uptime, I should say, because we do have 2 fishing ships on the field, 15 villagers at that. How many docks? I think I see a second one coming down just now here for Hera. That's pretty standard, but only 1 so far on the side of Tatoh.
Indeed.
Unless they're right next to each other. Yeah, just 1.
He's about to add a second one right now. But yeah, the super fast uptime here isn't necessarily that important because there is still a solid distance to travel until you face the opponent, right? So the fact that Tatoh is here 50 seconds behind is not the end of the world because his ships should pop out just about the time Hera will arrive to the other side.
And we talk all the time about reinforcements and the value of being the defender in the situation, right? So exactly, by the time you get there, I've probably matched you in numbers, and my second set of ships that come out will likely turn the tides of the battle. But it is 2 galley production straight away here for Hera. We would expect the same thing out of Tatoh, of course, utilizing those bonuses for the Berbers. And so soon enough, we'll have a little bit of action on the map. Still doing some scouting around the rest of it all with the Kings. And then I think the next question becomes who will be the first to reach out for that bottom pond, right? That's always something that you have to, I'm sure, put a lot of thought into is, you know, do I still want to contest on the top? Do I want to give it up? Do I feel like I've won it? And now I can finally reach for the fish at the bottom.
Indeed, and that's also a question like, when do you do it, right? As you said, like, do you do it in Feudal Age or maybe in the transition to Castle Age? Or do you do it at all, right? You always have to make these decisions as the game goes on because they will surely impact how well you can fight on the north side as well. And I mean, we've seen people give up water on the north. I did myself as well at some point where it's like, I never really fought for the water to win it. I fought to have my fish alive and force my opponent to invest. And at the same time, I snuck to the bottom and I took the advantage of the fish that is there untouched, right? So we'll see how these players play it. But Hera and Tatoh, both 2 of the best water players in the game, so we're going to see some amazing galley micro here.
And isn't that picture perfect? Like we said, the first 2 galleys would come out right as Hera arrives to the scene, and it is that kind of a situation. So it all comes down to the micro now. Again, a reminder that Tatoh has the movement speed here. Hera has the regeneration. So Tatoh does want to take the all-ins and ultimately win out by eliminating ships in their entirety. If he does chip damage, it's not worth that much in the long run if Hera retreats and regens up.
Indeed, but Hera is the one who has to be careful because if he takes one bad fight, he is the slower one, right? So the ships from Tatoh could catch up and really jump on Hera if Hera makes one slip up.
Yeah, we saw that even in that earlier set today, when you then add maybe 1 or 2 fire galleys to be that front line and allow you to push forward. We saw it more in the Castle Age with some fire ships and a war galley upgrade. Right now, we're going to match numbers for numbers in the fire galleys. Neither player has gone for fletching yet, so no advantages to be found there. And through all of this, we do have the extra fishing ship for Tatoh, but as you mentioned, the bonus for Bengalis, the extra 2 villagers gives him just the slightest lead on the eco front there.
Indeed, and we see one mistake from Tatoh now. He is currently population capped, so his production is halted a little bit, and those are the things that can really turn the tide on these small micro-engagements, right?
Yeah, forced into Loom as a result, but did go for fletching first, so the upgrade about to come in. If he could find a good engagement here, it could get him the advantage in the numbers. Both players trading out in the shots. 2 seconds until fletching for Hera. We're back on equal footing. Tato's going to retreat with a low health, perhaps going to go for a repair as well, but that means that he's working with 1 less. They're out on the battlefield. Hera still has the initiative here, but we are playing on a knife's edge. Another very low health galley, and now Tatoh sinks back up with the rest of his ships. Hera is just doing a phenomenal job in these trades, landing many and not losing 1 yet, now retreating a bit for some regeneration.
Indeed, Hera definitely got... Ooh, this could be dangerous. The galley spawned right in front of Hera, but Tatoh was nicely microed to get it out of the way. And he has one ship garrison in his bottom dock right now. I'm not sure if that's just a misclick or what, but yeah, Hera definitely taking the better edge of the trades right now. But again, Tatoh, if Hera oversteps just a little, it will still turn around.
Yeah, we're waiting for that to possibly happen. And to your point earlier, Tatoh at least putting up the defense. The fishing ships are still alive for now. Hasn't lost too much. Hera really testing the waters here, both figuratively and literally against Tatoh. The first of these galleys is going to fall, and it's 2-0 KD now overall here for Hera on the map. Not too many advantages gained for either player. Taking a look back at the resources as well to see which of these players might be closer to Castle Age, and they're in lockstep with each other as we speak.
Indeed, Hera did have those 2 extra vills upon reaching Feudal Age. However, Tatoh has had one more fishing ship working this whole time as well, so the eco difference isn't that big.
I spotted a difference. We have a demo in the queue.
Oh, well, Hera has been dancing very close to that dock, and we know what Tatoh is known for. However, Hera playing a bit safe now.
It's almost like a sixth sense. He knows. He was literally between the 2 docks just a moment ago, and it feels like he had some kind of inkling that this is the moment where Tatoh would be up for something. We continue to trade volleys of arrows, not too many of them finding purchase on their targets, and Hera's going to back up in the end.
Yeah, Hera on the way to the castle age, so Hera now wants to avoid taking any bad trades, right? He will probably play safe, fall back a little bit, and just wait for that castle age to kick in, as he presumably, he assumes that he's going to be faster with the Bengalis, right? Ooh, Tatoh Scout is active on the bottom though, as Hera sends 2 villagers down. Do we have Loom, I wonder, for Hera here? We know Tatoh did it earlier. Hera does not have Loom, and Tatoh Scout is there. If he finds this, first of all, the Wolf can start engaging the villagers, but the Scout on top of that, these could be 2 dead villagers.
Hera did bring his Scout over as well, but the Scouts ran right past each other.
Ships
in the night. The demo as well. We've got a lot to pay attention to in this moment. Is Hera aware of it? It seems like he got a little bit of a peek, and he's going to retreat, but this means that the villagers are under fire with the Wolf helping out on Tato's side. That's 2 villagers down, and no opportunity to get to that bottom pond.
Indeed, at the same time, Tatoh jumping on the ships, forcing Hera to pay attention here, and therefore not being able to micro or quick wall the villagers. Amazing play by Tatoh right now.
This is exactly the kind of situation that could snowball out of control, so Hera needs to keep his composure on the top here. He gets a few more galleys out onto the field. Tatoh continuing to dance and finally clicks to the Castle Age himself. That will be the big advantage here for Hera, is the quicker Castle Age time, the extra 2 villagers that he gets while he's there, and he's also winning the water battle in the moment.
Yeah, Hera has the defender's advantage now, but Tatoh has done exactly what he needs to do. Force Hera to stay at home as well, and force Hera to micro. Hera sending 2 nivels. This is like he already lost his advantage from advancing to Feudal Age, right? 2 villagers down. That is now nullified. Hera sent another 2 vills, but then again, Tato's Scout now doesn't have the same amount of HP. There is also Spearman there, so this should work out for Hera this time.
Commits the Spear to get there as well. I did see a number of villagers exiting Tato's base as well, so as he moves on to the Castle Age, perhaps thinking about a dock at the bottom and then maybe a TC as well on some important resources, we can continue to dance on the water. But at this point, with just 3 fishing ships to 2, I think what's the word I'm looking for? The advantage you gain in winning entirely on water is lessened as the game goes on in terms of the percentage value it has to the rest of your economy.
Exactly. I mean, you have to think about what do I get from winning water right now, right? You see Hera right now, he's not even doing the warship upgrade. He has not done Bodkin either. So right now, like last game, he's not doing the Castle Age technologies. He's preferring to get his economy set up. He's adding 1 town center. He's also adding a monastery at the bottom. And now comes Bodkin.
Bodkin after he goes for that first TC and the monastery. This is actually something that freaking Andy talked about. He felt was a major misplay. He forgot a monastery upon reaching Castle Age as the Bengalis, and it felt like it really bit him when he had that engagement with Jordan in the center of the map. And while even still, Hera will win out the battle here in the top pond, completely eliminating all of the galleys here of Tatoh. That means he'll likely go forward and wipe up the rest of the fishing ships. We do see our first TC going down for Tatoh as soon as Castle Age comes in.
So interesting decision by Tatoh. Like, I'm surprised he stopped running there, but his ships are faster. He could have just clicked by and tried to go to snipe the fish of Hera, right? Tatoh is doing the warships upgrade, so he has some fire ships on the field. And as we see on the top of the map, 2 fire ships have snuck by Hera's army, and they're there to kill the fish of Hera.
Oh, wow. What a sneaky little maneuver by him to make sure he eliminates those eco units. Has
instant reaction.
Wow. Wow. Or just repositioning for fish?
That was
hard to say. Is that big brain or just...
No, he noticed it. Okay. He's already sending galleys home as well, right?
Okay.
So yeah, I'm still surprised that Tatoh didn't just send his galley straight across, right, to try and snipe the fish. But yeah, Hera now walling off the middle as well, so it's going to make the pathing for Tatoh a little bit awkward regarding trying to compete for the water or harass Hera on the other side. But Hera picks up the scout of Tatoh picks up the scout of Hera with some camel archers, as he has another 3 in the production. And Hera so far only making monks. He hasn't added a single Rafa.
Yeah, just considering getting those relics in as quickly as possible, and one is already home and garrisoned into that monastery. 2 galleys are going to find the 3 fishing ships here from Tatoh. Still a couple of galleys for Tatoh in the queue as well, so maybe can defend against that. But either way, the transition and the focus becomes more about the land at this point. Hera's already put in the work to get the map control, right? Getting those kind of forward walls up on the southern side. Also has managed to get that dock down as well for some extra fishing ships, and possibly making his way to those 3 relics. But I do see a blue dot. Tato's thinking about contesting.
Yeah, indeed. And what Tato's doing nice now, he's still forcing Hera to pay attention to the top side, right? At the same time, Tato's using camel archers to try and get some map presence, force Hera to maybe react on the land as well, and he's sneaking a dock in the bottom late. Hera right now has no ships in the bottom, he only has fishing ships, and I'm not sure if he's making more fishing ships there, but either way, Hera has no idea that the dock from Tatoh is coming up.
Yeah, we have fishing ships in the queue, but no more naval units in the queue to defend against that dock that is coming up for Tatoh. So Tatoh, the opportunity to surprise Hera here, but also needs to worry about a conversion. Does get the snipe onto the monk, so lucky to find that against the Bengali tankier monks, and will run away from possible conversions here.
Yeah, Tatoh only has fletching at the moment, so those camel archers do not pack as much of a punch as they can. However, always going back to the conversions never stop. This can be 2 really fast conversions. There's 1.
Retargeting onto the other and does find it. That's a fantastic find there for Hera. It's only 1 more camel archer. Won't be able to do much damage in the back of the eco, but this fire ship is going to do great work, and another one to support it. All of these fishing ships looking to go down, and Hera even feels like he needs to invest in a second dock down here if he ever wants to make it to those relics.
Oh, these monks do not have faith anymore. They just spent their conversions, so Tatoh jumps on it, jumps on the opportunity to take them out because they cannot convert anymore. Great find by Tatoh. Hera still, like, those camel archers do bonus damage to themselves, so the conversions actually help defend so much here.
He gets 2 picks, and yes, it's only fletching, so once again, tankier monks take forever to go down. Another conversion looking to come through, so Tato's got to be on the retreat while also trying to trade out against these camel archers. Is it going to be a 1-for-1 in the end? No, that one is saved there from Hera. So Hera not even playing the camel archer civ and almost has as many as his opponent.
Indeed. Hera now will definitely send monks down to the docks as well, right? There are 3 relics in the lake on the bottom, well, if you can call it a lake, yeah. So you definitely want some control here, so you can make a transport ship, go over there, pick up the relics and bring them home. Right now the relic situation is 1 for Hera, 0 for Tatoh, and that's also why Tatoh wants to fight for the bottom, right? He wants to make sure that Hera cannot just pick them up without actually investing, right? And I think Tatoh may have been sneaking in more fire ships on the top. That's like, right now Hera probably doesn't think that Tatoh will invest anymore on top. But we see Tatoh with a demo in the dock and 2 fire ships on the way.
Yeah, never one to say die is Tatoh. He's going to continue to contest up there in the top. Both players also just moving to their 4th TC. We see through all of this action a relatively even game. 16-11 in military numbers, 73-71 in eco numbers, with Tatoh having just the slightest of edges. And so that, I think, if anything, is an example.
That was a good demo.
It was a phenomenal hit by the demo. Lots of damage. We didn't get any of the kills just yet, but those faster fire ships for the Berbers can possibly chase down, but not if they're on stand ground.
Tatoh, move.
You can even see Hera's like, do I? Should I run? What do I do?
Did he drop? Did he drop? Like, what's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a sketchy situation there, but ultimately Hera does still get the kills and going for that War Galley upgrade now so that he isn't underpowered on water as he has been in the upgrade department. We've got Bodkin coming in here for Tatoh, so that'll make his camel archers just a little bit stronger. Here we've got the replay of the demo.
Yeah, baiting and then boom!
You love to see it.
Just how Tatoh loves to do it.
Yeah, you absolutely love to see it. Pull your attention one direction and then swoop in from behind with the flank. We have a second castle coming down here for Hera, just to secure his eco on a great hill as well, right in front of that gold. This game, or rather this map, always becomes about that central concentrated push. And time again, we've seen the player who can get to the correct army numbers and correct army composition in the Imperial Age will be the one who ultimately comes out on top. Perhaps a difference maker in the series between Jordan and freaking Andy. Another big demo hit, and the fire ships are out. So now it's about target firing. And I think the target firing for Tatoh looks really good as he eliminates more and more numbers and now has the edge on the water.
Indeed, it looked like Hera wasn't paying attention here until just now. Tatoh obviously can't help. Hera even adding fish. He hasn't won the water yet, and he's adding fish. He's trying to get to the dock.
Transport?
There
The
are
transport with 3
there.
monks?
Well, to be fair, I think
They could convert.
yeah, and the fire ships wouldn't kill them fast enough because they are Bengali monks, right,
Yeah.
with extra armor.
That's where you're wishing you did have a demo, if anything. So it looks like Hera might complete the relic heist and get all 3 of them out. He already has 1 at home. This would bring him up to 4, and that would be phenomenal for the Bengali player. Something I was going to talk about a little bit earlier is, of course, a difference maker I feel in Jordan's series against freaking Andy, the access to bombard cannons. I know we're not quite there yet, but that is a very relevant thing when it comes to castles, castle positions, and trying to get a central push to actually build some momentum.
Yeah, indeed. But Bengal is one of the civs that, despite not having bombard cannons, they got a pretty good counter in the fact that their monks have extra armor so they can tank more hits and therefore try to convert the bombard cannons with the same range. Because I believe Berbers might have siege engineers. I'm actually not sure.
That's a tricky one.
1 extra range for the siege.
If you don't know, I take that as permission for me to not know.
Okay,
Yeah, exactly.
Chat will know. I'm
Yeah,
sure
chat will
tell us.
know.
Okay, they do have it. So yeah, there will be 13 range bombard cannons for the Berbers against 12 range monks from the Bengalis. But yeah, like Imperial's composition, they're both going to in pretty much the same time. Resources collected, neck and neck. This is as close as it gets as we enter Imperial Age very soon.
Gonna say.
Armor for infantry
Ooh.
has to be halberdier play.
Need a little bit of a meat shield, perhaps, or just something to produce to keep your numbers up as soon as you hit the Imperial Age. We literally have identical populations, 128 to 128 right now between these players.
We see Spearman in production. He's also queued up some Ratha. I'm not sure if those are just 2 Ratha to like get some scouting, map presence, whatnot, or if he's gonna come. He's doing ballistics as well. Like if I think about it, the composition here, right? Berbers, Camel Archers essentially shut out Ratha production and Elephant Archer production. So 2 of the very good options of Bengalis are pretty much eliminated by the simple fact that Camel Archer being such a good counter.
Yeah. Halberdier, Onager Monk for Bengalis.
Maybe Arbalest even?
We have not seen much use in Arbalest this tournament. It's actually a discussion we were having earlier, right? It feels like this tournament has been very contrary to NAC 4, where it felt like the meta was dominated by like camel crossbow kind of a thing. I feel like crossbows Arbalest very underutilized, perhaps indicative of what their power level is in the meta right now, but could be a bit of a surprise in this one if Hera decides to go for it. A lot of conversions coming through there as Tatoh tries to take the fight just before the Imperial Age comes in, trading out against those Ratha. Let's see if he can get those final 2 kills before the retreat comes in. He does.
There you see the bonus damage they have. Ratha are simply not an option as long as Camel Archers are on the field. They do so much damage. We see scouts, light cav upgrade for Tatoh as well, so maybe Tatoh is thinking skirmishers. And as we see, Hera, elite skirmisher on the way. Tatoh ahead on the tech switch right now.
Yeah, it won't be Arbalest. Instead, he'll go for the elite skirmisher play. We see a whole bunch of techs coming in as both players make it to the Imperial Age. Tato's still 13 seconds away. Halberdier is the first of those Imperial Age clicks, and block printing to follow. Obviously, going to be massive for the monks in terms of converting any possible bombard cannons that come out on the field. 3rd castle already here for Hera, but both players choosing very conservative positions. No one really going directly for that center control.
Indeed, like the big difference here on the maps is that there is like 2 central goals. Oh, we saw Hera, he just placed the castle in the middle. He did remove it again, so he thought twice about it. But he's doing outpost first to make it safe. If he feels like he can drop the castle, he will. And the 2 goals in the middle there is essentially what would separate the 2 maps.
Yeah, information first before he makes the decision. 1,000 gold in the bank, so I don't think you want to drop that outpost there, sir. That's like the most standard spawn of the castle. I think you have to assume it's there. He quickly repositions, but this would control him. A little indecision there. That's a little uncharacteristic of Hera, but eventually will find a place to drop it. This does secure him a ton of gold priority over the course of the game if he's able to hold the position. Chemistry coming in for both players as well.
Tread production as well from both players, so they know they're about to enter a long-distance siege fight with trebuchets. And Tatoh might make some bomber cannons, as we know. They do have access to them. Bengalis do not. But yeah, just right now it's full trash from Hera. Maybe a few monks. He has 7 already since Castle Age. But yeah, full halb, full skirm. And Halberdier was the first click, as you said. And it makes a lot of sense because Berbers have that serious discount on the production of the cavalry units.
Yeah, we've got already 2 trebs on the field here for both players. Another one in the queue. Camel Archers continue to, or rather, not even in production, but healing up in that castle. And it seems like the focus right now is the light cav because the major concern is the Bengali monks against the bombard cannon that is now on the way.
Indeed. Like, I think both players are struggling to figure out what's my ideal composition here, right? Hera has now just committed on Skirm's help. They always kind of trade well, unless there's like a superpower unit that can just steamroll everything. But Tatoh might be the one who is like, what is my unit choice here, right? He has some Camel Archers, but Skirms will nullify that. Then there's the Light Cav, but then again, Hera has so many helps again, so... Bomber Cannons, well, Hera has Monks. Maybe Bengalis just has the answer to everything.
Yeah, Siege Engineers just coming in here for Hera. We did see Masonry come in for Tatoh, and that can be hugely relevant in the Castle War. Both players already putting a lot of stone into the repairs, plenty of stone in the bank for the time being. We have Halberdiers running forward straight into the Castle Fire, but there may be enough numbers to target the Trebs. No, Hera will retreat instead. We got 5 Light Cabs swooping in, looking for maybe some Monk kills, but not enough numbers it seems like at the time. More reinforcements coming in as well. They're going to target the Skirms. The Bombard Cannon falls back, but the castle falls at the same time. Both castles being traded out, in fact, and now the Trebs are the main target.
Indeed, both Hera, Tatoh is fully maxed out. Hera is not at the moment, but yeah. Tatoh does have more villagers, so army count is still in favor of Hera, but yeah, Hera has to back off with his Trebs. Well, Trebs went down before he got to back off. This was a great trade for Tatoh. They both lost their castles, but Tatoh is also raiding at the same time.
Oh, look at that. I mean, he's pulling a Hera on Hera by throwing the Light Cav into the back of the Eco and pulling the attention apart. He did open. That's a peculiar, or rather, no, he targeted that, right, with the Treb there.
Yeah. He did open the whole wall off the Hera had there, and now the issue for Tatoh is still that Hera does have the center control, right? There's a lot of gold there. I'm not sure what the total is, but it's definitely a lot. It's like 8,000 gold.
I was going to say, I think it's 2 5-tile golds. Which
so
is
8,000.
There. Well done, my friend.
Thank you.
All right, we're replacing the castle in just a slightly more defensive position here for Tatoh. Obviously, a very important point of control for him just at the front of his base. And now the Hussar upgrade, along with Iron Casting as well, is going to make the raids even more potent, as well as the opportunity to snipe any monks. But it's still full trash on the field here for Hera, so not even utilizing that gold that he's pulling in necessarily and putting it more into the upgrades than the units.
Indeed, and we see Tatoh is doing crop rotation. That's paying off in like an hour and a half. So hope you have...
Strap in, my friend.
Yeah, strap in. Tatoh is in it for a long run. Doing hoardings as well now, adding another couple of thousand HP to his castle. And he also finished Hussar upgrade now. Maybe Tatoh... Oh, King Snipe! King Snipe, do it, Tatoh, do it! Go for the King!
That would be incredible.
I'm not biased.
Obviously, the King is very, very safe, but he's pulled a lot of units over here to the right-hand side. Plenty of Hussar, more to raid. He's got Camel Archers as well, but this means that the front of his base is relatively undefended. So this is Hera's opportunity to strike. He recognizes it, and 4 Trebs have now rolled forward to put their sights onto that castle. We've got the conversion coming through. Those block printing monks, they're looking for it. But the retreat comes in just in time, back underneath the safety of the castle fire. Hera
did a misclick there. He moved all the monks out of the way to not be hit by the bomber cannon, but he only needs like... They don't die even to the bomber cannon shot. That's the beauty of Bengali monks, right?
Still diving in for the conversion. Tatoh on the full retreat. The castle's about to go down, and he gets the conversion on top of that. Castle falls, and now this could be disastrous here for Tatoh. He's got 4 Trebs that are relatively exposed, the first of which is going to go down. Now, Tatoh was able to trade out some on the side of Hera as well, but it's full trash at the moment for Hera. He's got tons of resources in the bank. As I'm looking at Tatoh, he seems a little bit strapped for cash.
Indeed, Tatoh has lost 2 castles as well, and you can't replace those easily. He still has 2 castles left, and he has a unique tech that makes them work 25% faster. I saw I did it earlier in the castle age, so that's definitely in there. And now he's doing the skirmishes switch, which makes a lot of sense, because skirmishes will counter everything that Hera has currently.
Yeah, so he just has to get the numbers up, as Hera's looking to target another one of those castle positions, make it expensive for Tatoh if he wants to hold on to map control. Tatoh now bringing some of his forces back to play defense, needs to get something out onto the field to deal with those Trebs. There is 1 bombard cannon, haven't located it just yet, but as it comes forward, that will be the thing to keep our eyes on. The monks will want to target it. Obviously, Tato's micro will be massive in terms of eliminating the Trebs. We've got more Hussar. They're looking for damage. They can't find their way in at the moment, though, Viper.
Indeed. Hera just securing the spot with another cast in the middle to control those golds. Tatoh, though, like, he had a decision to make right now. How much stone does he have? He has enough stone for 1 more castle. Question is, do you make a new castle in a safer location, or do you spend it repairing like he's doing right now? But there are 4 Trebs from Hera. That's going to take down the castle in no time, and it's going to spend all the stone repairing here.
Such a tough position to be in, but because of that gold that's sitting just behind that castle, and the fact that the castle sits on a hill, I do think he's going to commit to keeping it alive as long as possible. We have those skirmishers coming forward looking for snipes. They're not going to threaten Trebs too much, and the halberdiers can't quite get through the meat shield. The question is Tatoh able to eliminate those Trebs that are firing away? He just loses the bombard cannon as he comes into the block, printing monks once again. That's a tragedy.
Indeed, but this is the third time Hera is diving under the castle of Tatoh with all his trash units. Super low HP units, they will die really fast. And we see here, now there's no defense for the Trebs. Maybe Tatoh has an opportunity here to just jump on the Trebs. As we see Haub's coming in though, and the castle stays alive for now, but there's only 400 stone left in the bank for Tatoh.
Yeah, that could have been the window. Those are very low health Trebs there. We do have a few more halberdiers showing up to play the meat shield, and some villagers trying to repair. One Treb goes down. We've got 2 more firing away, but it's 4 Trebs for Tatoh here. If he can start a snowball, if he can find his moment, we could see this start to roll back across the other side of the map.
The skirmishers are coming in clutch now. They're helping. They got a recent change as well where they do more damage to halberdiers, and that's exactly what Tatoh is making. The Camelot to skirmisher mix might be the composition for Tatoh right now.
Yeah, and oh, go ahead.
Hera does not have units to deal with this right now. The castle stays alive, Hera loses all his Trebs, and population looking very healthy for Tatoh. I have to point out though, Hera did do Mahayana, I think it's called.
Yeah, wonderfully done.
Which gives 10% less population cost for villagers. So Hera on paper now could have roughly 215 population.
There we go. Exactly. So we'll see if he can get himself up to that. Only sitting on 170 at the moment, but we also see a little bit of a tech switch, right? To your point, now that he's getting pushed back, he has to rethink his army composition and teching into those cavalry armor upgrades. Hasn't produced too many just yet, but that could be the answer against the skirms that Tato's beginning to produce. Also saw Capped Ram come in for Tatoh.
Tatoh now using a mobility advantage he has as well, right? He has the cavalry on the field. Hera is currently only on infantry and skirmisher units. So mobility in favor of Tatoh, and he's taking advantage of that with the trebuchet push on the bottom side.
Feels like from the brink of death, Tatoh is clawing his way back into this one. All of the cavalry techs coming in for Hera before he shows anything. Husbandry, bloodlines, and scale barding. We also, or plate barding rather, we have 5 trebuchets on the right-hand side though, working away on this castle position. That's a castle on a hill, a very important hill to control given the amount of eco that sits around it here for Hera, and the slow reposition of those halberdiers and skirmishers is exactly what you're talking about. They arrive just as the castle goes down.
Indeed, and those units that he has right now, they will not be able to take out trebuchets fast either. Look at Hera's food bank. He has 4,000 food in the bank. And also one thing worth pointing out is Bengalis have a bonus, Civ bonus, where they do +2 damage to skirmishers with their cavalry units. So if those light cav from Hera get on top of the skirms of Tatoh, the skirms will disappear. Elite Camel Archer.
Ooh, Elite Camel Archer, that could be massive as well. Obviously, you're happy to trade efficiently with trash units, but at the end of the day, if you can sustain your gold unit, unique unit type production, that will still win out in the end. You want to use those powerful units to the best of your ability. We have a castle position removed from the map. Tato's going to take a breather, though, as he gets pushed back just slightly.
Look at Tato's maneuvering. Hera pulled all his army to the right side. What is Tatoh doing? The Trebs and his whole army moving towards the center, where Hera has undefended castles.
This is one of the things that Tatoh is best at, playing the map and pulling the attention of his opponent from side to side time and time again. On top of all of that, it's kind of an interesting situation where Hera's own walls through the middle of the map, they slow his own rotations.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And so it's such an interesting, it keeps you safe in one sense, but also makes it difficult for you to respond to your opponent. And now those 5 trebuchets arrive to target the castle position that largely controls 2 golds in the center of the map. Focus back on to the central push.
And those gold piles have barely been deplenished, right? There's so much gold left to mine here for whoever has control of it. Over 5,000 gold still. Imagine Tatoh getting control of that and how many camel archers he can make. As we see, I mean, I still think like Hera just struggles to find a composition, right? What does he make?
Yeah, castle falls. Both players are popped Kappa right now. It feels like Tato's the one with the initiative. The Hussar numbers are massive, and they dive underneath the castle with impunity. Yes, they are going to get cleaned up by those halberdiers, but still, the important units of the Cav Archers are safe behind, or the Camel Archers, rather, are safe behind. The Trebuchets now unpack to look to target, yet again, another castle. And the same situation that we talked about for Tatoh is relevant now for Hera. There's very little stone in the bank. In fact, he invests 1,000 gold to buy 500 to possibly keep this one alive. He's going to move forward to try and remove these Trebs from the field, and he has solid numbers right now. Tatoh on the run.
Indeed, Tatoh, as he lost all the Hussar, he doesn't have the meat shield he needs to make sure the Camel Archers are safe, and therefore the Trebs are no longer safe either, because the Camel Archers always wants to retreat when they're being targeted as well. And yeah, Tatoh's on the back foot here as Hera with such a big army now, as he has the 10% less villager population. His army is bigger, and Tatoh cannot take bad fights.
Just looking at the population number swings here, both players a moment ago sitting at 200. Tatoh now slipping down to 175, but he gets the retreat. The Camel Archer numbers are still relatively strong, and more Hussars out to play the meat shield. I love that Hera did get another wall down on the right-hand side, recognizing that Tatoh's likely strategy might be to continue to seesaw to the other side of the map. But once again, we're locked in a battle here in the central part of the map. It's 68 military units for both players, and the Hussars dive in to try and clean up the Trebs here from Hera. The Camel Archers just patrolling for the safety at the time being. We've got skirmishers coming forward to look for the snipes. Thumb Ring finally coming in to bring those Camel Archers to their full potential.
Indeed, the army composition right now, when you're maxed out, Tatoh definitely has a stronger army with those Camel Archers. However, he just lost all his trebuchets, and he has a 50 Hussar cube right now. But Hera could have the save if he was spending his food. They both are banking food so hard right now, and suddenly Hera is the one pushing again.
Here's the scary part, though. There is 0 on gold here for Tatoh. So every Camel Archer he loses that much more difficult to replace, and he's starting to use the market as a result.
Indeed, guilds coming in here, which makes those trades more efficient for him, as honestly that's what he has to rely on, right? Maybe we might, even in this game, have a case for a final-ditch King Snipe attempt.
Yeah, we saw Jordan, we saw Jordan go for it as well, and was denied it while still winning the game.
Yeah.
For Tatoh, it might be his only source of recourse to get a game victory, but this is a great step in that direction by picking off those trebuchets and keeping his couple of castles very much alive. A massive engagement in the middle of the map. It's mostly cavalry here for Tatoh. It's a mix of units here for Hera. It looks like the numbers are strong for both still, and I'm tracking the Camel Archers over everything. That's the thing that'll be hardest for Tatoh to replace. Everything else can continue to produce. I say that, and look at the food count actually for Tatoh. It's looking a little thin right now.
Well, he still has 50 Hussar in the queue, so it's solid enough. But yeah,
You're right.
He could definitely turn some of that 4,000 wood into more farmers, right? And maybe Tatoh has to switch back to skirms, right? Hera seems to have found the healthy mix that keeps Tatoh at bay, right? Just enough skirms to start picking off 1 and 2 Camel Archers here and there. Enough halbs that whenever Tatoh dives with his Hussar, the halbs will be there to clean him up. And then he has his own light cavalry he can jump on Tatoh's skirms, or just be a meat shield for whatever army Hera has.
Yeah, incredibly, between these two players, in a 52-minute game, we have a separation of just about 1,000 resources collected, which is amazing to see. And once again, both players completely popped capped. Now Tatoh looking for some damage. He's going to run some Hussars into the back of Hera's eco. That's going to split the focus. Hera's going to chase with Light Cav, has some castles to deal with it, and he's going to use the rest of his forces to move forward.
Ooh,
doesn't look like Tatoh has anything in position other than this bombard cannon, and that will cause Hera to immediately pack up and run, at least until he can get some Light Cav in to snipe and possibly make a mess of Tatoh's eco. Tatoh now rotating over for the defense.
Yeah, I think as well, Tatoh broke open the wall again in the middle of the map for Hera, so he's going to start raiding through there. Oh, 3 bomber cannons going down to the castle! This is the most expensive unit in the game!
Oh, that's a tragedy. I mean, yeah, that's what, roughly 500 resources per, so 1,500 resources essentially down the drain to that castle alone. Repairs coming in on this castle, very important for Tatoh to keep up, because in the end, he only has 2. No stone, no gold to buy, no villagers on gold. It's looking disastrous for Tatoh at this moment. Does he have the queue of Hussars to continue to spam? It looks like the castles are starting to fall. The Light Cav raids are coming in. He can't clean up the Trebs as cleanly as he'd want to. One does go down. There's a couple more low health ones there, but plenty of halberdiers to defend. He does manage to get all the snipes, and that might give him just another couple seconds to breathe and find an answer to the pressure that Hera's throwing at him.
Indeed, but there's no castle anymore to defend, so Hera can now start entering Tatoh's base to start just taking fights whenever he wants to, right? Camel Archers still do a phenomenal job as long as they get to shoot and not be touched, but again, those halves are getting really good trades here. Both players still pop cap. Tatoh is on 40 Camel Archers. He's reaching a really healthy level of Camel Archers. Question is just, wait, Tatoh's king is down. Is Tatoh's king garrisoned?
Yes,
okay.
He moved it down into the TC.
I see the red dots moving towards the king.
Yeah, got a little scary for a moment there. So while this is just a raiding attempt here for Hera, probably unlikely to be aware that the King's there. And
look
probably
at the
knows,
capture age
I
messages.
know, it's freaking out just because that TC is getting slapped. Tatoh responds to clean this up and try and keep his food eco alive. He does have 60. He's up to 63 on food, however, has very little in the bank. So he's playing on a knife's edge, and any moment might run out of the resources and run out of steam overall. Those are some good raids, though, to find in the back of Hera's base as well, off of a transport ship, of all things. You love to see it.
Tatoh loves those moves, man. He does it every single time he has a chance to do something tricky like that. He will take the opportunity. Both players are just trying to raid each other and make the economy management for the other person difficult. Tato's Q is still super healthy on the Hussar, but then again, he's kind of only making Hussar, right? But as long as he keeps his Camel Archers alive, Hussar will do just fine as a meat shield.
Yeah, 8 more Camel Archers did manage to get put into the queue, so 37 up to 45 if it keeps them all alive. I would be very curious at the end of the game to see the damage dealt by these Camel Archers because he's done a phenomenal job of keeping them alive. We have another engagement, this one towards the center of the map, so Tatoh has gained a little bit of ground back, but he's fighting underneath the castles here of Hera, and that's ill-advised over a long period of time. Of course, if he's just throwing Hussars away, it's not too bad because he's back up to 1,200 food in the bank, 6,000 wood behind all of that. Could sell some of that for gold, but he did manage to get 17 villagers on the front back onto gold. That'll be a very important position to hold.
That's massive, and like you see, he's reached a critical number of Camel Archers now where they're killing everything in front of them, right? So as long as he can continue to spam those Hussars, I think he's adding more and more stables towards the fighting point, and then he can reinforce faster and faster, and as long as those Camel Archers stay alive, they will clean up absolutely everything because everything Hera has are trash units.
Yeah, Camel Archers can hold. They can even gain some ground, but what they can't really do is push through castles. So we need those siege numbers to climb, and with this little bit of gold that Tatoh has managed to secure for himself, we see 3 bombard cannons on the way. That could be all he needs if managed properly and keeping these Camel Archers alive to actually take this game. We do need to see these Camel Archers reposition. We need to see that bombard cannon be saved. It came forward, and now it's being targeted by some light cav. A couple more hits, but it looks like with the repair, he might be able to keep it alive. This could be a big play. No! That's a hero halberdier there for Hera that gets the snipe in the end.
Hera doing a really good job as well, targeting the Camel Archers with the skirmishers at all times, right? Every chance he gets, he wants to pick off 1 Camel Archer at a time to the point where we see already Tato's down to 32 Camel Archers again. But Tatoh wants to stay on that around 40 number to have the critical mass. And yeah, I mean, Hera's population has dropped. He still has a lot of... Wait, actually, Hera's bank is depleted and he has not a lot of units in the queue.
Yeah, 160 pop. At the end of the day, I mean, we were just a moment ago talking about how it seemed all lost for Tatoh and possibly on the verge of defeat, and now he's pushed back to the center of the map, has the population lead, and it looks like the stronger army composition as long as he continue the production. And with 14 vills on gold, he's sitting pretty again with that queue. Like you said, maybe 32 up to 40, 45 Camel Archers would be the play, but another 2 bombard cannons on the way. He gets up to 4, and those castles aren't long for this world.
Indeed, as we can see the Camel Archers just being the main unit right now to dictate where the fights are happening, and like Hera always has to respond to Tato's Camel Archers right now. Hera cannot suddenly be like, oh, I'm just going to ignore this army and go anywhere else, right? Because then the Camel Archers will just push forward and take whatever ground they want. Again, Hera trying to make a dive on bomber cannons. Looks like he might be able to get 1. But again, with Hera's bank right now, those are expensive. But Hera, up to 86 farmers right now.
I know, that's a quintessential Hera play, but even still, like you say, with 80-something farmers, he'd like to send those light cav to raid the eco, but right now he needs the mass in the front. Look at that damage dealt, 12k coming out of just the Camel Archers that remain alive on the field. That's not to take into account everything that has died prior. 3 bombard cannons here with plenty in front to at least play the meat shield. Got to keep those Hussars around. Don't want to throw those away, but Tatoh is finally looking for a killing blow.
If Tatoh gets this hill here where the woodlines have been cleaned, how is Hera ever going to take him off that hill? If the Camel Archers get planted right in the middle with the bomber cannons, this is not the best fight for Tatoh.
No.
These Hussars are fighting, but the Camel Archers are sitting there shooting at houses.
Yeah, management of the Camel Archers lapsing for just a moment there, and so what could have been a very effective fight doesn't go quite as well as he wanted to, but it still seems like it's in a winning position here for Tatoh, slowly moving towards that all-important hill position that you're talking about. First going to target the TC, then soon to follow will be that castle. What is the answer at this point for Hera? He seems to be almost out of options.
He's only making light cav right now, and light cav, you have worse units, like head-to-head. Hussar are better than light cav, right? So that's not the unit Hera needs. Hera just right out of options right now. Vodka, can we quickly see how much wood Hera has left on the right side? Okay, he still has a healthy amount, so being taken off the middle is not the end of the world for him.
Yeah, still enough for the time being, but for me, there's one important unit that isn't on the field here for Hera, and that would be the monks. Also, misclicks, 13 militia.
That has to be.
Those are supposed to be Halberdier 100%.
Yeah, I hope so.
That's a tremendous amount of food and gold, actually, that's put into a near useless unit. And actually, maybe even more drastically, it's the pop space that you've just committed to a unit that isn't useful.
Castle goes down. Hera is now down to, he has 4 castles actually still alive, but Hera still has his king in that starting tower. I mean, Tatoh could just make like a straight line and go straight for it, right?
Yeah,
if he realizes it's there.
Look at Tatoh go. 5 bombard cannons now on the field, and honestly, nothing that can really deal with them. We're starting to see the struggle here of the queue. For Hera, nothing in the queue, in fact, as I look to the top right of the screen. Down to 107 villagers, but he is looking for some raids and possibly the snipe on the king. Tato's aware of it and isn't going to let it happen.
And what's
That's not even where the king is.
It's a villager. It's a villager. It's a full bait
play, a full bait. You love to see it.
Yeah.
Hera thinks it might be his only option, and Tatoh, he's playing the magician on this map. What a recovery from a near-defeat position. Still needs to get it done in the end. We never say die until the GG is called. We have 4 more castle positions for Hera to fall back to, but he's losing ground rapidly. He's losing farming space rapidly, down to 65 farms. And the queue just still isn't there. It's all light cav and nothing else.
Hera is on 135 population now. That's, I mean, like when the camel archers are pushing through your base, that's not going to be enough to hold. Still has 1 militia though.
Hey-oh. Oh, nope, no, it's gone. I just saw it disappear from the top right.
The only thing Hera is doing right now is sending light cap to try and find the location of the king.
Right.
The king is, though, luckily for Tatoh, in his only castle, and I don't think light cap can take out a castle, at least not from what I've seen normally. However, Hera has 2 trebs. He has 2 trebs in queue as well. Can we locate those trebs? They're going for the castle where the king is!
Oh my
He's making a run for it!
Okay, you love to see it. Take your only percentage chance at winning the game. He understands that in a head-v-head battle of just pure army compositions, it's not going to be enough for him, but he has to keep these trebs protected, and there, Tato's taking the opportunity to swoop in with the Hussars. I don't think Light Cav are going to be able to deal with them quickly enough. It would need to be Halberdier the Militia trying to be a hero, but he can't be. The first treb goes down, the second one will follow, and while another one rolls forward, it'll be cleaned up soon. Yes, the castle took a little bit of damage, but it's under no threat of falling anytime soon. The numbers are climbing here for Hera in this position, but for Tatoh, it's all about the trebs. Get them off the field, and you should be okay.
Hera's throwing every single resource he has right now. He's throwing into this push to try and take the castle, but Tatoh is getting closer to Hera's king. The tower is garrisoned. Tatoh sees it.
This would be so poetic.
If he brings the bomber, the king ran! The king ran!
Wow, the awareness from Hera as well to move the king out of the tower and into the safety of one of the castles. He does have 2 trebuchets back on the front here. There are some halberdiers out there and some villagers coming forward to look for the repairs. One of the trebuchets goes down. The other one is now half health, about to fall as well. There is so much investment into the wood and gold here for Hera to try and get this king snipe. In fact, he's got no resources left. It's this treb or nothing for him and his chances at the first or second game of the set.
Not a militia to help defend, and he brought villagers this time. He has 33 villagers left. 10% of his economy.
Oh, the houses!
Oh, the quick walls.
This could be massive.
Oh, he cannot build there. The treb is blocking. He cannot build that house. Oh, he can. He can.
He gets it, but there's still a hole, I think, on the right-hand side.
Oh, he gets the wall.
The final quick wall, but the palisade wall isn't going to be enough, or gate rather, and I think this might be enough. The repairs are trying to come through. It's everything into this singular push here for Hera. Tatoh just needs to defend, and he should be able to claim victory and even us up at 1-1. It's 32 villagers to 88. You gotta love to see it as these guys have put everything that they have into this second game of the series.
Indeed, Tatoh has bills under the castle as well repairing. That treb will never take out the castle. And the GG is called. What an amazing game of Age of Empires.
660 Hussars made for Tatoh. It was 330 light cav on the side of Hera. Near 1,000 cavalry units made between the two. And that's before we talk about the rest of the army compositions. Everybody take a breath. I feel like this series is going the distance.
Indeed. We see both players laughing as well. They both have fun with the last-ditch attempt to snipe the king, right? When you're a player as well, you don't laugh in the game, but after you're done with the game, shoulders down, like it was fun. Hera had a go. It was his only option at that point. Tatoh was in firm control. So yeah, I mean, in this place, I'd rather have Hera do that and try rather than just like keep trying to hold, because he knew that he was going to lose eventually.
You got to respect it. And of course, we're playing the most crucial point of the game. The 3 monks.
Yeah.
One monk playing defense against the other.
Yeah. This is why Hera lost.
There you go.
But this
Trinity Heist, Monks on a mission. That's why we had to watch it.
Okay,
We needed
okay,
you have to
okay,
justify the meme.
makes sense, makes
That's the
sense.
most important thing right here. I mean, wow. Okay, talk to me about endurance in sets because
and in the cast.
and in the cast,
yeah.
right? I'd say we're working a different muscle here, of
Indeed.
course, our diaphragms and our lungs. But I mean, this is something that we've seen sets go as quick as 3-0s in 1 hour. We've seen single games go 2.5 hours. What is the stamina like as a pro player? Like, what is for you the most taxing? Is it the mental and the decision-making element, or the more physical elements of keeping up in executing on the decisions you want to make?
So usually I feel the exhaustion after the set, right?
Okay.
In the games, I'm usually that focused that I don't really notice it, but like when I'm done with the set, I can be like, oh, damn, I'm exhausted, right? I think when you lose a long game, it's more taxing on your energy levels than if you win it, right? So I think coming out of this game, Tatoh is definitely the one who's going to feel way better, right? Obviously, he won the game, so it
Sure.
makes sense. But also, like, when you fight for so long, put all your energy and effort into the game, and then you come out on the losing side in the end. I mean, another thing to consider is this was Hera's second pick on the draft.
Yeah, this
So,
is
like-
also the second time we've seen Berbers come out on top over Bengalis.
Even today, exactly.
on Copenhagen. And I was hearing some arguments for Bengalis being better than Berbers earlier. So I'm wondering if some pro players over there on the couch might be rethinking their assessment of those civs.
Yeah, there's something to it, right? Again, as the game went on, once Tatoh got the critical number of camel archers, that's when it's suddenly like Hera couldn't take good fights anymore, right?
It's a good point. He was seconds away from defeat, it almost felt like, right, in a number of ways. And yet, here we go, right back on to map number 3 of the series. We're going to one of Hera's home mats. He's the one who had the choice in where we would go next for game number 3. We're going to Rocky Forest. Hera in the red playing as the Khmer, Tatoh as the Armenians. You had called out that Hera's played Armenians multiple times on this map. Tatoh picks it away and takes it onto that very map. So how do you feel Khmer plays into that?
Well, Khmer obviously a very versatile and flexible civ, as they can. They have a bonus where no buildings are required to construct certain buildings. That's a weird way to put it. Essentially, they have no.
That actually is a strange way to put it.
They have no prerequisite.
Yes, perfect.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. English. For any buildings, right? They can go to Fuel Age, build an archery range, build a stable without having to build that barracks beforehand, like every other civ in the game has to, right? So that gives you a lot of versatility and flexibility in terms of how you want to open up. You can drop a stable and a range as well, right? As the opener, so you have a lot of potential in terms of the opening. You can decide, do I want to do this or that, or very easy adaptation to the opponent as well.
As well, an incredible farming eco because villagers drop off food from farms 1 unit at a time, meaning they don't have to return after a full basket of food, if you will. And that makes them an incredible scout civ, which on this map, inability to wall around all of your important resources can make scouts incredibly potent. Now on the other side, like you mentioned, we have Tatoh stealing away the Armenians. Why?
So on this map, we can see the rocky terrain along the forest, right? This is not buildable. You cannot build on this terrain. Therefore, you can never place an efficient lumber camp along the terrain. However, Armenians and Georgians, the two newest civ to the games, have a mule cart. And a mule cart is a mobile drop site, so you can essentially move it all the way to touch the woodland, making your wood choppers as efficient as can be. And therefore, they are a natural choice there. However, Armenians is a civilization that struggle a bit with their tech tree, right? They have good artillery and good infantry, but mobility, not the best. They don't really have any power units, right? Like camel archers that we saw last game, for example. So a lot of people have a great opening with Armenians, but as you're starting to transition into a different unit, Armenians start to become a little bit awkward.
So it might require you to find some kind of early game advantage to have the initiative over your opponent and ultimately take the game. We're seeing exactly what you talked about here from Hera's perspective, having to build that lumber camp from the beginning one full tile away. And that will become a longer and longer trip as his lumberjacks chop through, while Tatoh will have the option to reposition on the mule cart. Already on the way to the feudal age for both players is going to be Hera, who gets there first, going up on 16 villagers to the 18 of Tatoh.
This is what you can do with Khmer as well, right? Other civs have to have enough wood for a mill and a lumber camp, or a mining camp, or a barrack. Like, you need 2 buildings in the Dark Age to advance. Khmer can ignore that. You can put every villager on food and go to the Fuel Age as fast as you want. And then you can add the lumber camp later, for example, right? That's what we saw Hera do as well. He pretty much went to Fuel Age before he did his lumber camp. And question now is just, what is his unit going to be? I feel like he might just open a range and play skirmishers, because what is he expecting from Armenians? Probably spearmen skirm.
Yeah, in that case, you don't want to be running scouts straight into the open arms of some spearmen. Tatoh previously pushing some goats in, hasn't gone forward for the scouting information yet, but it's not hard to know where your opponent will be, as you can run straight through the center of the map. Ooh. It's Hera, though, who comes forward already in Feudal Age, and having the attack bonus on that scout will get the better of the trade. Needs to avoid damage from the TC, and does manage to do so, even dancing in front of it, trying to bait Tatoh into the garrison, and does take just a tiny bit of damage for his troubles. What is this, Hera? What is this?
Hera has done this a few times now.
Wow, 2 sheep?
The thing is, this is... I mean, if you're Tatoh here, the counterplay is 2 villagers, kill each sheep and garrison, right? Because then your sheep stay alive, and Hera will lose some HP on his scout. Okay. Now, obviously, he took 2 sheep, but he did lose all the HP on his scout. As we see, Hera is indeed going for a stable opening with that fast uptime, and farming around the stable, as you can with Khmer. But yeah, like... There's the argument here. Is it worth it to lose the HP on the scout? Because you give away initiative, right? Sure, you take a little bit of food from the enemy, but also the initiative with the scout play is not really there anymore.
Yeah, it's, you know, opportunity cost there, right? Sacrificing health to remove the eco from your opponent. It is going to have to change Tato's approach and maybe the allocation of resources, as he'll run out of food options before needing to invest wood into it, either by building more mills on other berry positions or moving out towards the center of the map, or just committing it to farms around the TC.
Another thing that Armenians can do here with the mule cart, as I said, it's a mobile drop site, right? So in the middle, we have deer spread all across the middle. So Tatoh could on paper send 2, 3 vills, 4 vills with the mule cart and just go from deer to deer to deer, and it will be super efficient as well. As we saw a scout hitting the house for a while, I'm not sure if that's the damage he wants to do, but Tatoh also going for a scout's opening.
Just let him know. Scare the population.
Yeah,
I think that's a strategy, right? Of some sorts. So far, no kills to be found by either player, just health traded one way or the other. These are low health scouts that villagers themselves could fight away, and even still, Tatoh has a spearman there, walls up for safety around the berries as well. We've got, go ahead.
Tatoh with his food income right now, he cannot really produce, right? He has villagers producing, but he cannot afford scouts nor spearmen. He's adding more spears, actually, so he's only on 2 scouts at the moment. What's really nice against Khmer, if you do a barracks table opening, is that you have spearmen, right? Khmer drops the barracks because that's their civ bonus, essentially. So if you can put pressure with spearmen and scouts, you're in a really good spot. However, Tatoh here does not have the food to be producing scouts, so Tatoh essentially forced into a defensive position.
Yeah, scout numbers here for Hera continue to climb. 4 on the field, 2 in the queue.
Oh,
this is a spearman that just barely misses finding the poke and a possible kill onto one of these 2 scouts. But again, low health scouts not going to find purchase or damage. This will be interesting, though. Another couple low health scouts here on the side of Tatoh looking for damage on the villager. Another one comes over to defend. With an extra spearman, though,
this should be a dead vill.
Harass and perhaps 1 dead vill. Not even enough for Hera to defend here with that scout being produced in that moment. So the first economic damage to be found will be Tatoh in terms of a villager kill, if we're not to count those 2 sheeps that fell earlier in the game.
And that was exactly what I was speaking about, right? Hera popped out a scout, but the scout couldn't engage because the spearman was there. However, Hera coming on the woodland here, Tatoh does have 2 spears though, ready to defend, so he should be completely fine.
Yeah, very good job defending and avoiding any damage as of yet. Both of these players playing at the top of their game, it feels like, in this tournament and in this series.
Ooh, low HP Vil, you know the Hera will be coming back for that one later.
He's clicking that thing so many times, too. Yeah, exactly. Khmer, another thing we didn't talk about, actually, is just the ability to garrison villagers into houses. So, while this is a very open map, that can be that extra element of safety that you need sometimes, looking for more damage. I mean, he's whittling these villagers down, and that's what Hera does so well, right? He might not kill the villager on the first pass, but he might kill it on the second, or even the third pass with those scouts.
However, we saw Tatoh, the second that happened, right, the further a villager got lost HP, he switched that villager to a closer to the TC farm and put a full HP villager on that further farm. So Tatoh also doing the right precautions to make sure he doesn't lose that villager later on.
Man, these poor villagers having to pull double duty. They're chopping down trees and fighting spearmen. Indeed. Not an enviable job, to say the least, but they do win the battle in the end. It's continued scout production here for Hera. Hasn't tried to transition onto anything else, but feels like the mobility is all he needs. Where for Tatoh, it's an investment into 7 spears and 4 scouts in total.
What could be an interesting thing here for Tatoh, as we see, I mean, Hera's already on 500 food, right? He's now switching some vills to, ooh, he picks up a scout here, nice pickup by Tatoh. But Hera moving to gold now, maybe he's thinking about Castle Age, right? But what Tatoh could do, what a lot of people don't realize, Armenians have access to the infantry upgrades of the next age in the barracks. So Tatoh could make even pikemen upgrade in the feudal age. Imagine pikeman upgrade and then send like 4 vills to tower or something. Hera only has scouts. Pikemen and towers would be, Hera would have no answer to that whatsoever.
Yeah, he'd have to give the ground, if anything else, because he doesn't have the option to fight. And with these spears coming forward, I mean, maybe not even needing pikemen. Right now, he just has the unit composition to make it so that Hera cannot take the engagement. Again, still playing the mobility. Hera, always the wiser, knows that this is not an engagement he can take. Yeah. He'll look for counter damage, while Tatoh will look for the same. More houses coming down to make sure the Khmer villagers have plenty of places to garrison in case they take a fight.
Indeed, Tatoh feeling confident here. He has spears at home ready to defend, so he's sending forward 4 scouts with 3 spearmen. And also Tatoh did forging, so these will kill villagers way faster than before. As we see Hera feeling the need to add a range to defend. Hera even taking fights against spears here. Spears have forging in defense as well. This is a great upgrade for Tatoh.
Yeah, it's a 1-for-1 trade. A scout for a spear in the end. Tatoh will take that every day of the week. Now the villagers are fighting on behalf of Hera against the spears and the scouts that are coming forward. Again, playing the jump through the window, jump back out of those houses to safety.
However, maybe if you're Tatoh, you just sit on the house, right? That's 5 idle villagers, right? They're not working. So Hera is on the way to the castle age, though, as we have gotten used to see very fast. Armor upgrade for Tatoh as well now. He's really investing into feudal age here, and there's no house to defend the gold miners right now.
Yeah, none whatsoever. They're trying to rush it up, and they do. I think there's 6 villagers and only 5 spaces in that house. Either way, Tato's going to back off just slightly. Now, he does see that his opponent is on gold, and if you know Hera, you know that that's likely for that castle age push because you haven't seen any ranged units or gold units just yet. Wow, Hera did finally get his first archer onto the field.
Nice quick wall by Hera there, saving it. But again, he didn't. That's the mistake people make often when they quick wall. You don't hammer enough on those 3 tiles, and therefore one is weak, and the villager will be picked off. Hera's still trying to quick wall. I do this as well. Right? This is complete waste of time right now, but you just cannot help yourself.
I know. It's been. I guess you've been the target of some of that criticism.
Oh, Pikeman! Pikeman!
Ooh, just what you asked for, and even more investment into armor upgrades here now for the cavalry as well in the feudal age. There's 0 food in the bank here for Tatoh, so that means he's stuck in feudal for quite some time. 45 seconds until Hera reaches the castle age. Bloodlines coming in, but at the moment it's full cavalry into pikemen. That's a fight he can't take. In fact, he'll have to look for damage instead of defending.
Tatoh, nice quick was there. He could actually use the mule card as... Oh, he gets a really good hits here, actually. Woodline is safe as well. Like, Hera has 2 archers. They don't have fletching. He has 2 archers. He's hitting castle age. He has scouts, 2 archers. No fletching. He's castle age. He has no castle age upgrades.
Sorry, he's what age?
He's castle age now.
And he has how many archers?
2 archers.
Does he have fletching?
No!
Oh, that sounds disastrous for him in this situation. The pikes are just free roaming around the base, and now they'll loop back around to this wood line to once again look for a fight. I think if Tatoh realizes that these archers don't have the upgrades, he might dive in and look for the fight, but now perhaps playing more conservatively by retreating back to his base.
Yeah, I'm surprised about this because Tatoh definitely has... Okay, he's just regrouping. Right? And then he will go forward again, yeah. Now he has enough scouts where he could potentially jump on the archers, right? The archers are slower, so if he jumps on the archers and this pikemen follow later, this is still a fight Tatoh can probably win. I mean, like, Hera went light cav against full pikemen.
Yeah, light cav, obviously an upgrade that a lot of pros favor nowadays, and for good reasons. But this might be the one situation where it's ill-advised because
one
you're playing into the counter unit.
Yeah. One archer went down.
3 archers on the field, but again, with just Fletching and Bodkin on the way, these scouts are happy to play at the front of Hera's base. And we kind of go back to a discussion we had in the first game of the set. While Tatoh is the one stuck in the feudal age, at the very least, the pressure he's putting on Hera now means that he is not taking any damage back at home and can continue to expand his eco and maybe one day make it up to the castle age himself.
Indeed. Hera's economy as well. And look, there's a 9 villager difference right now. Resources collected is 800 in front for Tatoh now. Oh, Hera losing a lot of light cap. And Hera has 3 archers, but he has Bodkin. So, better, but still, it's like if Tatoh is still making Hera react to everything he's doing, right? Now the light cap, the scouts, he's feudal age. The scouts are running around the base. Hera has to chase. He cannot let those be.
Now those archers.
Left the archers alone.
They're getting picked off by feudal age scouts here. Yes, plenty of
upgrades. The scouts are coming around to pick off the archers, and Hera will have no answer to the spearmen or the pikemen anymore.
What a big flank positioning, and even coming forward with villagers as well, looking for a full feudal age push here from Tatoh. He's going to punish the greedy push to the castle age and maybe the mismanagement of resources when it comes to those castle age upgrades. Here comes the tower now. Does Hera have a response? He has enough stone for a counter tower, and that's what he's going to go for. But I almost wonder if you dive at this with Tatoh just for the time being, because any villagers that could garrison into the TC are currently building that tower.
I think the damage alone is the fact that he's forcing a tower. Hera is in cast stage, he cannot add any town centers. So Tatoh knows that he will not be falling behind economically as long as he continues to produce villagers. So this is just a first tower, bait out a counter tower, and then you go for the second tower.
I love this too. He doesn't wait for the stone to come in from the stone miners. He buys an extra 100 to keep the initiative, keep that pressure rolling forward. And so yes, going for this tower on the wood line, Hera already having to reposition without the ability to quick wall entirely. Tatoh might have permission to get forward and find some more villager picks. We have exposed resources on the other side of Hera's base as well. So this is where I would look for Tatoh to kind of play that seesaw motion once again. And while all this is happening, it feels like Hera realizes I need to get some damage in. And he's looking for a counterattack around the left, but that's Tatoh's permission to dive under the lumber camp.
Hera has to make a big call. Does he come back to defend? Look how many villas are exposed on the left side. If Tatoh commits there, actually 3 archers with great micro. The scouts, not sure about this.
Yeah, one knight looking for some picks on the villagers. Tatoh's trying to track. The pikes are chasing. The archers are throwing in some pot shots. They do have bodkins, so that is very helpful. I'm also taking a look at the southern side. We're about to have some light cav make it to Tatoh's base, and that could be a turning point if Tatoh's not aware of it and reacting quickly. But now the scouts loop around looking for damage on that wood line. It's another tower being dropped as well for full control over Hera's base. I think the wood line over at Tatoh's base is getting hit, though, as we speak. And what's the response? He has a couple pikes there.
Indeed, and he's doing that. Another tower went up. It's going to completely take out Hera's woodline. He's going for another tower now between the lumber camp and the mill. And Hera's just losing vills left and right. Score is getting closer somehow, but it feels like Tatoh is doing more and more damage.
Yeah, and Tatoh won't let up. Yes, the villagers can dive into houses, but they have to build more in order to create a point of safety. And to your earlier point in this game, those are idle villagers regardless, so it's damage done to the eco even if they don't die. A little bit of a maybe misclick there on the ungarrison, and it looks like these scouts are going to get some cleanup kills. We see the villager count sticking around a 10 vill difference and about 15 idle at the moment here for Hera. More towers coming up. We've repelled the attack on the other side for Tatoh, so once again he's sitting pretty and slowly building up those resources. He will make it to the castle age eventually if the game even needs to extend that long.
Indeed, and Hera has to do like a tower hop, I almost said, house hop, right? And to make sure he can group up the villagers with his incoming 2 knights and 3 archers. But again, Tatoh could jump on the archers with the scouts and let the pikemen fight the knights. And Hera is doomed to lose a couple of vills here.
Yeah, perhaps could even commit to the villager kills. And that seems like enough here for Tatoh to be satisfied. Now a 15 villager lead using the market at this point, because that's the damage he needed to find to feel like he can finally commit 800 food and 200 gold to going up.
Indeed, Tatoh still keeping those villagers prisoned and another house to hide.
They are in prison. They're under house arrest right now. That's what's happening.
But he has to continue doing this every single time a house starts burning. Otherwise, there will be no space for the villagers.
Oh, man, this is your existence. You build homes only to watch them burn, build another, and run while you get chased by what feels like a Mongol horde, but it's the Armenians instead. It looks like Hera's...
Oh, the bear! The bear!
Is he going to fight to kill? No, okay. All right, Hera becomes aware of it, but look at that. We've house-hopped our way to some foraging. There are those knights making their way around to perhaps find a way back into it. Exactly, crossbows. That's going to help with the pikes that he ran into a little bit earlier, but look at this. Now the gold is left relatively undefended. There are 2 knights there, but 2 knights is not enough to deal with all the pikes that Tatoh has brought to the party.
Indeed. I wonder if Tatoh has towers at home, though, right? Hera seems pretty safe where you can always hide in the houses. Oh, yeah, 2 towers on the woodline. Tower on the farms. He's going to do a tower on the stone as well. Tatoh is prepared.
You love it. That's the heads-up play, right? Time and time again, we ask the question about pro players, or, what's the most important way to approach the game once you have a lead, right? Most of the time, it's more about thinking about all the ways your opponent can get back into it and guarding against those things, as opposed to maybe overextending for a killing blow. And so with that in mind, Tatoh goes ahead and puts up some watchtowers at home for extra safety, has pikes there to deal with the knights, and the crossbows aren't going to find much damage underneath those towers.
He did a mule cart. Forward mule cart, too. And you can hide that in the tower as well. So the mule cart sitting happily inside the tower.
Tell me how a mule cart fits in that tower.
I don't want to answer that.
Vertically?
No other choice, right?
Right, yeah.
It has to detach from the horse or from the mule. And then,
shove it in that spiral staircase, make it fit. All right. It looks like Hera is going to try to boom his way out of this. He's already gotten onto a second TC, now reaching for a third. Because he's got this force forward, he's starting to make Tatoh pay attention to his home economy a little bit more, and that might be enough to allow him back into it. But still, it feels like he's trying to dig himself out of a hole. The fortified church coming up just in time for more defense.
Indeed. Not only is it defense, this, it also is one free relic, because that's the safe bonus. You get the first fortified church you make, you get a free relic as Tatoh comes in to take the fight. He's going to clean up this whole army. The crossbows are down, Tatoh with light cap and +2 armor, cleaning up the whole army. And from this point forward, actually, Hera with a good counter rate on the woodland at the same time. Village count is about to be equalized. However, Tatoh has still collected almost 3,000 or 2,500 more resources, and okay, he did notice this in due time.
Yeah.
But the counter aggression from Tatoh after he's cleaning up the aggression from Hera is going to be massive.
Solid kills, though, for Hera. Honestly, more than I would have expected, given how much it feels like he is on the back foot in this one. And that's great to see out of him, the continued fight in this series. Tatoh has finally made it to the Castle Age and has dropped the second TC. It's a fourth now at the back here for Hera. So once again, he feels like it's going to have to be in an elongated game with ultra focus into the economy and beating his opponent late.
Tatoh behind us himself has 2 town centers, so he will not fall too far behind. However, this is where Hera shines in defense, right? He's so good at minimizing losses and having, like you said earlier, just enough army to defend. He's adding some monks here, he still has 7 crossbows, and he is still making knights in defense. Question is, what will Tatoh do to punish this? And can Tatoh punish this? Right now, picking up some vills, delaying the 4th town center, that's a good start.
Yeah, as well, he switched that monastery over to a siege workshop. So he's going to prioritize the siege workshop forward before the monastery. And I think that goes directly to your point about punishment.
Yep.
You're going to go to 4 TCs? Well, then I'm going to start taking them away from you. And so here we go. The siege workshop is up. We don't have any siege yet in the queue. Hera will respond with a siege workshop of his own, but it looks like there could be a lot of focus here on this left-hand side of the map. It's a very isolated TC for Hera, so I imagine very hard to defend.
Indeed, it's cut off not only by the units of Tatoh, but also the tower line Tatoh had, right? So for Hera to reinforce this, he has to always go all the way around as we see the crossbow coming here. Again, this crossbow will clean up these pikemen, no problem, right? But he did take some losses under the TC. However, Hera is pulling ahead, he has the score lead, he's pulling ahead 12 villagers. Hera, the Mangonel!
This is the moment. There are knights there to clean up. He does dodge at the last moment, still taking some damage from the Mangonel in the end, but there are enough knights there to ultimately remove it from the map. We've got beautiful raids on the other side, though. Once again, something that Tatoh does so extraordinarily well. He splits the focus. He pulls units across the map to make sure that he's finding damage, even if he's losing out somewhere else.
Indeed, just like Hera did earlier where he was attacking on multiple fronts, Tatoh returning the favor. Both these players just keep testing each other over and over again. If you slip up once, you're taking a ton of damage.
All right, so let's check back in with where we are when it comes to the economies. It is Hera with the villager lead, 75 to 67, but let's remember how much he's had to invest to get to that point. And Tatoh overall has still collected more resources, which means that since he's not putting them into economy, he can focus them into military units and military upgrades.
Great find once again. He used the light cap to pull them away. Then the knights came into the gold, and another knight on the left side, and there was a conversion happening in the middle, so Tatoh was waiting from the bottom as well. Man, these players are so distracted right now by the action everywhere, especially Hera, because he's on the defensive foot right now.
And Viper, not 20 seconds ago, I said, look at the eco lead that Hera has for himself, and after those couple of raids, it's equalized yet again, 74 apiece, and also a slight military advantage here for Tatoh. I say slight, and in all honesty, the power of Tatoh's military being primarily knights at this point is a lot of value.
I mean, the amount of idle time Hera's had, right, sitting inside houses and working his way towards the town centers has been immense. And Tatoh as well, Armenians have a bonus where their technology is from the mule cart. So in Castle, by the way, they are more efficient. But yeah, Castle's coming down from Hera now. Maybe do we see ballista
Can he get this
elephants?
up, though? He's going to lose the knight battle. He does has crossbows coming out, but these are +2 knights.
Luckily, there are no villagers here already, because if the vills were already starting there, they would not want to stay there. But Hera has a healthy amount of army there as well.
Yeah.
So maybe the castle will go up. And getting a castle in the center gives you a lot of control in terms of dictating fights. The opponent can't really push through the middle anymore, so he can only fight from the sides, while you yourself can go through the middle.
Yeah.
And with the ballista elephant, you can cut the forest anywhere.
Ooh, that could be tricky. That's something we'll have to track as the game rolls on.
He commits.
Ooh, this is big. This is a big moment here in this game. Could be a turning point for either player. It looks like Tatoh doesn't feel like he has the forces to contest this, and so is going to back off while he continues the raids in the back of Hera's base, pulling him off of Golden Stone. But that's the importance of that castle in the middle. It will secure a lot of those resources in the long term.
Indeed, and raids, again, making sure that Tatoh does not fall too far behind in the village account, because he's still got 1 town center less. I'm still surprised that Tatoh is not committing on like a ram push on the left side, right, because of that isolated town center you talked about. There's probably 15-20 vills there at this point, so the damage there could be immense, as we see Tatoh also doing devotion here.
Yeah, Devotion to deal with the monks that he's now seen come out onto the field. It's 4 there with 2 more in the queue for Hera. He's also investing into Wheelbarrow as Wheelbarrow comes in for Hera, so it's like they're sharing a brain, but both of them realizing that perhaps this game won't end as quickly as they thought, and they need to invest more into the eco upgrades and set themselves up for the long term. Yet another TC coming down in the middle here for added protection.
Oh, you know what?
Oh, let's go.
Hera drops the castle in the middle. Tatoh realizes, okay, no chance Hera has enough stone for another castle, right? The damage, the raiding I've been doing, there's no way. What does Tatoh do? Sending all the vills around to drop a castle in between 2 town centers of Hera. They're taking a big fight in the middle. This is still a good trade for Tatoh. All the crossbows are gone. Maybe got 1 or 2 conversions, but Hera cannot do any damage through the middle.
Exactly. Wow, you maybe lose 1 or 2 knights' lives. Not much more damage is going to follow that. And at the end of the day, he's buying himself time to rotate around the right side of the map. He hasn't touched the right side of the map.
Oh, teleport!
Whoop! We love those.
Yeah. Tatoh is coming in time and time again on the top side, right? Hera keeps going back to that gold. Tatoh keeps coming back all the time. And now we see the castle on the right side. Is it in reach of both? It's still the farms are blocking, but that's still a deadly castle. That's 10 farms of Hera and 2 TCs essentially eliminated, and a woodline.
I love that he brought the mule cart with him.
Well, they have to work after building, right?
Exactly.
No
but
break.
not going to build a new one. Just we're going to travel the map.
Oh, Hera's pulling vills to fight this.
No way. I don't know if this is enough, but he's going to make the attempt.
It's not enough, I tell you that much.
No, and these knights are going to swoop in and feast on the lives of these villagers. The castle's going up regardless, and this might be the desperation play here from Hera, realizing that if he loses the access to this side of his economy, that's a lot of farms. It's another gold position that he won't be able to use, and Tatoh might have the perfect point with which to launch an attack and building a siege workshop immediately behind.
Hera's answer, let's add more town centers in the middle, where it's safe, right? It's not actually that safe though. The castle is only in Hera's entrance, right? So Tatoh can still enter the base and attack, and like he has chopped through on the left side as well. So there's still angles for Tatoh to enter the middle. But of course now with the castle here, it's essentially a launching pad where he can go in from the right side whenever he wants to, and Hera has to always have units or an answer ready just in case Tatoh comes in.
Yeah, Hera's resources are starting to creep up towards Imperial Age resources.
Khmer, man.
Yeah, it's Khmer. But at the same time, I wonder if you'd even want to make that click, because it seems like the moment you do is the permission that Tatoh needs to completely overwhelm you with knight numbers. It's just a matter of whether or not Tatoh recognizes that his opponent would take that risk of going to the Imperial Age.
Indeed, and again, knights coming in on the top side. Amount of villages that have gone out here and never returned to their families once again. I don't have the count there. But yeah, Hera, he has the resources for Imperial Age. They will surely catch... Oh, Tatoh is on the way.
I was going to say, hilariously, it's Tatoh. I swear he was on 100 food a moment ago.
I don't think he even used the mark. Maybe just canceled production, right?
That's probably what it was, exactly.
Yeah. He has a very healthy economy as well. I mean, they have the same village account. After all of this,
I can't believe
Eco
it.
KD 52 to 14. And they have the same village account.
I don't know, man. It's incredible because I feel like you always you tell people like, no, you can't just boom your way out of everything. And Hera's trying to disprove the rule, but here comes a castle position to punish Hera for reaching out into the center of the map. Doesn't look like he has a way to prevent it from going up, and so instead he'll abandon the TC position and retreat somewhere else.
Indeed, and Hera, he has now put a lot of villagers on stone. He realizes, okay, he's going to need more castles to combat this, right? Having one castle in the middle is nice, but again, like, what does it actually defend? 1 gold, 1 stone.
That's the MTC.
Is it MTC?
Is that the MTC?
Vodka.
Vodka, check that.
Oh,
that's the MTC.
50%
with the castle going up. I would struggle to believe that he'll send the knights at it, but if he does, he might be able to prevent Imp from coming in. It's still 1 minute and 30 seconds to go. I mean, the castle fire itself.
He's just going to mine gold there.
Just mine in front of the tail. Love it. Love it.
Ooh, big
we'll track
there.
that to see if it's going to make a difference in the end, while Hera has a giant force of knights in the back to finally clean up his eco and shove Tatoh away.
Does not even pick off the monks. That's a very good trade for Hera. Maybe that's the beginning of the stabilizer for Hera. Hera dropping and rushing a market now as well. He's missing a little bit of stone for a second castle, but this is a massive find. There's so many villages here.
I can only imagine the giant gulp that Hera took when he saw that castle go up right on top of his MTC, but it might not even come close to the pit in his stomach as he watches all of these villagers fall in the center of the map. And so while he will make it to the Imperial Age just behind Tatoh, his villager numbers are dropping. It's more about the military, though, at this point, as it's 47 on the side of Tatoh to 23 over here for Hera.
It's a bloodbath, and you know what? That equalizes the villager count. Once again. 70
again.
villagers killed by Tatoh, and they still have the same villages. Hera is a boomer. Everyone calls Doubt the boomer. Hera is the boomer here.
I mean, it's incredible that he can do this in the face of all of the pressure, but once again, he is still the one who is in a comeback position, right? And so this is how he thinks he's going to do it, by bringing the Knights in. Ooh, getting a quick look
like we had
at some of the quick walls here to trap Tato's Knights in and begin to get some of those trades, as well as a ton of conversions. Look at this beautiful replay.
That's decent.
Just decent?
Acceptable.
Just decent? Okay, that's we love to see it.
Hera going for the counterattack here. Again, suddenly Hera's at 10 villager lead. 10 villagers advantage. Cavalier on the way, chemistry on the way. I'm not sure what chemistry, I guess it's hand cannons?
I guess.
Because you don't get bomber cannons. The only logical thing I see here is hand cannons that a lot of people forget, actually.
And a slight boost to your trebs.
Indeed. People
the
forget
slightest of boosts.
Yeah. One more attack, right?
Yes, exactly.
Massive.
200 plus 1.
Yeah.
But here we have it, trebs on both sides, and so we're going to begin to see a lot of focus towards the center of the map, because that's where the majority of the gold and the stone is. But look at this raiding that Tatoh has decided to pull off with halberdiers and knights around the left side of the map. Villagers on the run here for Hera, as they have been all game long. 66 military on the field for Tatoh.
Despite the amount of knights and cavalry we have seen from Hera, he's just now getting scale barding armor, the second armor upgrade from the castle. So the fact that he's been running on the teases now, even now, he has taken a lot of extra damage to the tower fire.
That's a really good point, because it is Bodkin on the other side for Tatoh. We also have capped rams. That's going to make the push that much easier. We see a defensive castle going up in the north there for Hera to try and secure some of his eco and maybe keep the farms alive in the end. Tatoh skirting away with the villagers as the Cavalier look for the kills, but I don't think Hera's focusing on that right now, as he's more concerned with all of the army that's about to flood into his base. We see blinking castles all over the map, though, and 2 of them primarily being Tatoh's. The question is which ones will go down first in the end. Cavalier now pushing back the Knights and the Halberdiers here from Tatoh. Tatoh's forward position will be removed in the end. Halberdiers looking for some good trades into the very low health Cav. This is going to be 1 hit per, and a few more Halberdier to reinforce. This is a very costly battle for Hera, even if in the end he does clean it up, and he won't at that.
Crazy cost-efficient trader for Tatoh. At the same time, he's bringing the army from the left side into the middle, because he just walks through Hera's base into the fight. And Tatoh as well went for Cavalier, which will be the counter to the Hankerners, and it looks like Tatoh is edging closer and closer to a win here, as Hera has to abandon the middle completely now. Hera did fight back in his base, but at the same time, he's losing his whole presence in the middle.
Exactly. He saves himself on the right-hand side, but to the detriment of the center of the map. Yes, he has 2 trebuchets with 1 more popping out, but it's only 1 here on the front lines, and no defense for that trebuchet as these other ones roll forward and villagers are streaming out. They're going to soon be the target of all this military here for Tatoh. Tatoh rolling forward with trebuchets of his own, soon to take out this castle position. Plenty of villagers exposed here for Hera. This will be his final stand. It feels like he has to keep control of some of this central position in order to have some long-term prospects in this game.
With all that said, Hera keeps his castle alive for now. There are 3 trebs. If he can start getting the trades off there, maybe he can still survive. He did amazing micro there to make sure he didn't lose his whole army. And Hera has Tatoh has no army here to take out the trebs right now. Oh, actually, saying that, he loses a treb. Yeah. However, if this castle goes down, it feels like Hera's hopes also disappear.
Yeah, both players losing a treb, so it's 3 here for Tatoh, 2 for Hera. We got Cavalier making quick work of one of them. Only one more to go here for Hera. Hera losing the castle position, retreats just a little bit to try and find another castle position. He feels like he must hold on to some part of the center of the map in order to have a chance in this game, but his final trebuchet will go down here. The villagers are going to get this castle up, but it might just become an easy next target for Tatoh.
Indeed. Behind us also, Tatoh picked up 4 relics while all of this was going on, so he has a massive advantage long-term as well. Not a castle for Tatoh as well. He wants to just make the castles be close enough to each other, the trebs take the fight from behind the castles, and yeah, Hera just... despite this, the population difference isn't still that big. Hera now could pick off the trebs. The trebs are not protected.
I respect the fight out of Hera. The big concern is that food number. Only 9 on food, 200 in the bank. That is so uncharacteristic of the Khmer in the late game and the way that Hera wants to play it. He is going to take out all the trebuchets here from Tatoh, and so buys himself just a little bit more time to maybe boom back into it. We saw him dropping TCs at home around farming economies to try and get that food income back up. He is the Khmer. Food eco is nothing to be trifled with, and he continues to drop castle positions to hold on in this game.
Indeed, he's doing another cast on the right side. Tatoh does get on top of it, though. It's going to be a lot of dead bills here for Hera. Hera, only 22 mil to use, though. Tatoh has more than double the army, and that's what's making it hard for Hera to hold right now.
The overall KD is near even in this game, but the eco KD, 123 to 36. The number of villagers that Hera has had to pump out just to keep himself even in this game. We do see hand cannoneers finally out onto the field, and that will be a good answer to the halberdiers that are the counter to his cavalier for the time being. But ultimately, it is still double the military numbers here for Tatoh and fully in the driver's seat.
Indeed, Hera doing a little bit of a house wall in front of the trebuchet as well, trying to keep it safe as things finally kind of calm down a little bit. They're not like fighting, they've been fighting non-stop for the last 30-40 minutes of the game.
They've been fighting nonstop. We've been talking nonstop because the action has been so incredible in this series and in this game. More trebuchets coming forward, though, means that the action is about to kick back up. We've got repairs coming in for Tatoh on his castle with 2 trebuchets trying to make quick work of it. There you have a villager being the hero to that mill against the capped ram. 2 trebuchets onto the field for Tatoh as well to target the castle position of Hera. Once again, we're in a siege position. It's about who can protect theirs, and I love the house walls by Hera at the very least to maximize his options.
Indeed, but the numbers for Tatoh are scary here. We have 30 Cavaliers, 30 Halberdiers diving in. Hera has half of that army, and the Cavaliers get a great surround on the hand cannoneers to kick off this fight for Tatoh.
Yeah, it's looking like the numbers might be overwhelming, and Hera agrees as he calls the GG, and Tatoh will move to 2-1.
What an incredible game, right? This game had everything, dude. We had a guy playing Castlage while being in Feudalage with Pikemen. Forward tower rush, like prolonged Feudalage tower rush. Hera just trying to stay alive. I mean, how many people would not survive that Feudalage push from Tatoh?
Yeah, I don't know if Vodka's already jumped out of capture age, but this would be one of those moments where I would be curious to see the amount of time that Hera was in Castle Age, you know, and Tatoh was still in feudal. Like, what was the length, what was the duration of that time that Tatoh had to keep his foot on the gas, keep the focus on Hera's side of the map before he could finally make it up to match him age for age?
Indeed. This is one of those games where it's just like massive credit to both players, right? Incredible aggression from Tatoh, forcing Hera's hand non-stop, and Hera to be able to survive that long with that amount of pressure. And we looked at this situation and it was like, oh, Hera's dead like on 7 different times, right?
Right?
But he survived at the town center, suddenly village count, Hera was ahead, but Tatoh again with the transition to Castle Age was able to continue his initiative and harassing from everywhere, and in the end just slowly whittle Hera down. And Hera, like one of the guys that survive and has the best stamina in the game, like he's known for his like enormously powerful defense, right, where it's so hard to break down. And we saw how long Tatoh had to work on him before he was broken down.
Incredible resilience out of both of these players, but in particular Hera, even though he does fall in the end, I think very deservedly so. The players are going to take their allotted 5-minute break, or optional 5-minute break, I should say, after Game 3 of a series, which gives us a moment to take a deep breath. Everybody compose yourselves, because it's not over yet. Tatoh has 2 opportunities to put a 3rd win up, take the set, and become the sole holder of first place in the Swiss stage and remain undefeated. For Hera, he's going to have to put 2 together back-to-back, which means he'll have to do it on his own home map, a Desert Void, and his opponent's home map of Arena. He will have the option of where to go first, and this is where we return to that discussion and where I now lean a bit more towards go to Arena, end on Desert Void if you're lucky enough to take the win.
Because if you lose Arena, at least you didn't show your plan for Desert Void.
Exactly. And we also know Hera, no slouch on Arena. In fact, he won NAC 4 with his final game on Arena.
It was a different version of Arena, and we had Burgundian's Flemish Revolution back then.
Very true.
So it is a bit different, but still. This Arena version usually you spawn a little bit closer, so it allows for a little bit more clowning, if you will. But yeah, we see Tatoh having Burgundians, very likely as Hera walks by. Tatoh's going to use Burmese there.
Double secret agent Viper over here. I'm down for some clownery.
I feel like at this stage it's very unlikely that we'll see clownery because it's too risky, right? However, I think Burgundian's super safe pick on Arena. They can do it all. I don't remember what civs Hera has there.
Well, we can have. Well, first of all, we get a wave from Dave.
Oh,
love that. Always happy when Dave acknowledges my presence. Thank you very much, my friend. But I do believe production can hit us with those civs remaining for each player. Again, 2 maps, 3 civs apiece, and we can do some waxing and waning on which civs we might think will come out if we are to go to Arena. So let's just assume Arena for now. What are you thinking? Because Burgundians is obviously, I think, my first inclination, but we've also seen Pole's economy come into great play on closed maps. On the other side, Georgians? just so that you can get to Manaspa and overwhelm late?
But does Monaspa work against Burgundians? You'll be behind in economy. Burgundians have tools in terms of halberdiers. They have hand cannons with extra damage. I feel like Burgundians have every answer in the world to Georgians, right?
Okay, so then what else do you go?
I mean, Aztecs is a very common arena civ for the last 10 years. They have fallen off a bit.
I was going to say underwhelming in this tournament even.
Indeed. However, Hera beat Jordan yesterday with Aztecs.
That is true.
On arena.
That is true.
So I feel like we're probably heading towards that. And we have Georgians for Desert Void, where you can use the mobility of the cavalry healing up as well.
Okay.
So yeah, it feels like we're going to enter a Burgundians against Aztecs match. And I would say normally Burgundians should be favored there.
All right, yeah, so maybe Hera showing a bit of his hand yesterday with the Aztecs pick. But ultimately, you're going to play the best civ of you on the map, right? You don't want to just like throw a curveball for the sake of throwing a curveball if it doesn't get you any kind of advantage.
Exactly. But I mean, we're talking only arena here, right? There's a big chance Hera goes Desert Void, in which case we probably have... Actually, Tatoh has two options there, Burmese or Poles. Both are valid options. He could even play Poles on Arena if he wanted to, right?
I was going to say, we saw Poles on Desert Void into Slavs. Didn't work out very well because ultimately the Slav economy... Yeah, well, good. Fair point. Your trap card. No, I mean, so yeah, obviously Poles still very possible on that map. Like you say, Burmese have plenty of options. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm with you. Now you've convinced me. If we go to Arena, it most likely will be Aztecs into Burgundians. I would assume Georgians into Poles if we go to Desert Void.
If we go Desert Void and Tatoh goes Burmese, like Hera will play Georgians or Persians, right? We are committed on that,
I think we agree there.
Yeah. Cavalry units, right? You know what's a great counter to cavalry units?
A lot of halberdier.
And as well, yeah, that's also.
Monks.
As well.
Oh,
there's one more. Keep going.
I feel like this is a trick question now.
No, they have a unique unit that is amazing in mass against cavalry units.
Arambai.
Arambai, yeah. Arambai, if you get 5,
camels. 6, I mean, come on. I think you set me up for failure.
Twitch chat is a whole different beast.
That is true, but I'm just like, there's a lot of answers to that question there, Viper.
True, Burmese have a lot of counters to cavalry. I'll give you that. I mean, actually, they have cheaper monk techs as well.
Right.
Halberdiers with you know, all your answers were also correct.
Thank you very much.
But I can imagine Burmese going into Arambai, right? Once you have like 5, 6 Arambai and hit and run those cavalry units, they don't have any answer anymore.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point. So actually then, I guess based on our discussion, it feels like Tatoh is very set up in the Civ department with answers to what is remaining here from Hera. But as we know, it can all come down to the play in-game. It will be that reach for Arena. Tato's home map, as Hera needs to put two together back-to-back. And Hera is going for the Aztecs in the red. Tatoh going for the comfort pick, the very, very popular pick of Burgundians in the blue.
Yeah, I think Burgundians is one of the best win rates on Arena in general, right? Of course, like I said earlier, this is a different version of Arena. However, we see that the spawn is a bit further away, right? And that is advantage Burgundians. How Tato's going to approach this, though, like normally you see Burgundians just play like into stable, light cav opening, make sure you have presence on the map so the forward cannot happen, right? But Aztecs, we saw Hera play double monastery in the middle of the map, aggression, right? Fast imp after everything. So question is more like, how does Hera want to play this, right? I think Tatoh is just going to go for that full adaptive approach. You get good economy setup, and then you adapt to what's happening. However, Hera is probably the one who has to force the issue because he has probably the worst civ in Imperial Age.
I was going to say, well, correct me if I'm wrong, right? Like, if you assume Burgundians is going to invest into those eco upgrades, you know, an age earlier, you should be able to make it to Castle Age and ideally fight for control of nearly all 5 relics, take advantage of the Aztec relic bonus as well. We'll take a look at that real quick. The advantages that Aztecs will give to Hera in the long run. 33% more generation of gold from relics. Of course, they start with 50 more gold on top of that. Villagers carrying +3 extra resources is something that I think is a sneakily huge eco bonus. Again, for newer players, they might go, well, what's the value of that? They just go back a little bit less often, but it really does add up as the game goes on.
To emphasize how important it is, back in the day, they used to carry 5 extra, and that was so powerful that they got nerfed, right? That says everything.
Monks gaining 5 HP for every research monastery as well is something that adds up in the late game, and in an arena battle where plenty of monks will be created will net a big advantage for Hera. But over on the other side, Tatoh on the Burgundians, like we talked about, economically near unmatched because they get all of their upgrades, or rather have them available an entire age earlier. They still have to invest in them, but they're 33 less expensive when it comes to the food.
On the food, indeed. And then on top of that, like just how the bonuses of the Civ synergize in Arena. If you have stable technologies, 50% cheaper, you always want to get light cab, you always want to get husbandry, and when that comes in cheaper and you save that food, that also translates into, oh, I can spend more food on villagers. It's easy to get the villager production going. And then you see long-term, gunpowder units gain 25% attack. That's also hand cannons and bombard cannons. Two very common units on Arena as well. Then you can also go Cavalier in the Castle Age if you want to play a big Castle Age, or you can have Cavalier research upon reaching Imperial Age, so you can do instant Paladin. So you don't have to go through an extra step. And on top of that...
I was going to say, literally every single bonus of this Civ plays perfectly into Arena, with the very final one being that relics generate both gold and food. So perhaps a fight for the relics, while I would still expect Aztecs to have the advantage there in the overall relic war.
And there's one more thing as well. The farmers also generate gold, so long term you're well set off for Imperial Age fights as well, even if you don't have a relic advantage, right? And then of course, in the most desperate situation, the way we saw NAC 4-1 was Flemish Revolution, albeit it's very nerfed now compared to how strong it was back then. But in a desperate situation, we might still see it happen.
All right, we'll check back in with the game now that we have the civs understood. Feudal Age on the way for Hera already. That makes sense. Again, like we talked about, we have the investment into the eco upgrades from Tatoh in Double Bit Axe and Horse Collar. That means he's delayed to the Feudal Age.
Indeed, but Hera going for a really fast Feudal Age. This is, for Arena, this is usually if you either want to go 3 thesis boom, or if you want to sell your stone, really fast Castle Age, get monasteries on the field, start picking up those relics, and I feel like it is the latter.
Can I just say, I remember back in like 2017 when I reunited with Age of Empires on Twitch, people were playing on Voobly. I remember the whole like 26, 27 fill up now 22
right.
and we're going Castle Age. Like,
dude,
what happened? I mean, just the level of play has increased by an infinite degree, it feels like.
Yeah, give it another 3 years and we're doing like 14 population Castle Age.
I mean, now we should recognize these are 9-ville starts, so
yeah,
it does change things just a little bit. It isn't necessarily 1-to-1 to the 3-ville starts, but even still, how different the landscape of this game is nowadays than it was back then. Hera going for the immediate blacksmith plus market in order to get himself up to the Castle Age. Tatoh just now making his way to feudal.
And we see with the Burgundians economy bonuses available earlier, we can already take a look at the resources collected. Tatoh is already over 200 ahead. And I mean, it adds up, right? Of course, Hera went to the feudal age earlier, so he has had 2 less villagers working for a while. But still, that's already a significant amount in such a short time frame.
That will only climb as the game rolls on and more eco upgrades come in, and Tatoh is allowed to work away. 33 seconds until he makes it to feudal, but Hera's already on the way to the Castle Age. We expect, as time rolls on, that he'll look for monastery positions. I think the big question is, does he bother to bring them outside his walls, or does he feel like, with the advantage of time that he has, that he can place his monasteries more safely and protect the relics?
Yeah, I mean, considering the fact that Tatoh just now hit feudal age, right? There's no chance there's going to be scouts on the field, right? Also, you don't really start scout production either until you have clicked Castle Age, so there's a time frame in feudal age as well where it will take a while until scouts come out on the map. So I still think Hera will go out on the map. Oh, this could be huge. If Tatoh finds the eagle here, he doesn't even know it's there, but Hera knows. Hera's trying to avoid it. He sees it. This is massive.
He gets it, and yeah, he has that feudal age upgrade. And so, what? Just passing.
Well, okay. Well, I mean, each to their own.
Jeez. Viper making a big deal out of nothing. Well, how could you, man? Come on,
yeah, that
bro.
was so underwhelming. Like, cleaning up one eagle would make it so much more difficult for Hera to move out on the map to do a monastery, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks like Hera doing a barracks anyway, so he will mix in probably a spearman or 2. And we see Hera, I mean, look at his food count. He has 7 on food. Most of those are berry carriers. So he will definitely go for the monk rush. At the moment, looks like he will do the monasteries safely inside, though.
Yeah, heavy on gold. Had sold the stone. Thank you for pointing that out, Valga, just so everyone's aware. You can't jump immediately to 3 TCs unless you buy that back or mine.
Oh, he's going outside, actually.
But Spearman, and I like this. He's playing ultra safe, right? You are on match point for your opponent. You don't want to take any unnecessary risks. Loom coming in as well. He would have walked out with unloomed villagers, at least initially, and even still is unloomed at this point. But I think with that Spearman there should ultimately be okay unless the micro is on point for Tatoh. Good damage, but won't find a kill. It is going to be those central monasteries. We'll expect a second one to come up any moment now, but another scout onto the field as Loom comes in. A good pick by that Spearman there for Hera.
Yeah, Tatoh got greedy there. He thought maybe he thought the Hera still didn't have Loom, right? So he tried to make the dive in from both sides. That was a bit of a mistake from Tatoh here, but Hera will be happy about that. However, Tatoh, again, he has set up for this, right? He knows exactly what's happening, so he can now adapt. Like, he can delay a second and third town center. He can just go Monastery, maybe Atonement defense, right? He can continue making scouts and going light cap, which he definitely will. And now it's up to, like Hera, by the way. Hera didn't go, this is not a complete all-in, right? It looks like it, but Hera behind this did Boso upgrade, which is an economic tech. He also did gold mining, so he's not ignoring eco upgrades completely, right? I could see a world where he gets all 5 relics and eventually maybe falls back as a town center or considers like Imperial Age.
Yeah, at the very least, should end up with the majority of the relics. We have Castle Age just coming in now for Tatoh. It's a very understandable light cav upgrade that will come in first. Squire's on the other side just to make it so the Spearmen can close the gap a little bit more as they lose the mobility battle in the long run. Sanctity as well. Let those monk techs come rolling in. The HP will climb on top of the HP that the tech gives him itself. Let's see, though, how the monk micro is as the light cav are looking for snipes. Here's the attempted conversion. Tatoh will back off. And Hera is so good at escorting monks, it feels like, to safety and picking up these relics. But that will be the tale of this middle game as Tatoh converts into the 3TC boom back at home.
Exactly, so he's looking for a very strong economy behind this while just keeping presence, trying to deny relics. He's doing a nice split here, trying to jump on the monk, and he just needs 2 hits. Oh, great maneuvering by Tatoh there. Oh, the light cap path a little bit weird there, but yeah, Tatoh gets out of there, picking off the monk. Really nicely done. As Hera's trying to quick wall. Huh?
Spearmen, though, you got to be careful with these spearmen. Yep,
yeah.
Exactly. So Tatoh won't find a villager kill, but does find a monk pick without losing the lives of any of those light cav in the middle, and even patrolling on other relic locations already, hyper aware of the Aztec focus onto picking these all-important relics up.
Indeed, and Tatoh behind this did not add a monastery. Oh, he did add a monastery himself. So he also wants to try and get some relics. Again, he gets food as well on top of the gold with the relics. So it is a very nice one. But right now he's just using the monk to heal the wounded light cap, just so the light cap can then again enter the battlefield and try to look for those monks.
I think it was your first Burgundian games on Fortified Clearing.
Yeah.
Where you did play Burgundians into Hindustanis.
Yeah.
I think by the end of the game, your relics had brought in about 10k total resources.
Wow.
It was something ridiculous like that.
Yeah.
You know, obviously a lot of relics on Fortified Clearing to pick up with them being in the center and on the outsides, but exactly, very valuable thing for the Burgundians to focus as much as it is for the Aztecs as well. Hera going to push those light cav back as he's now got 4 monks rather, out onto the field, and is just now picking up his first or no, he got one home. I'm sorry, he got the middle one home earlier. Now looking for a second, and Tatoh moving out for his first on the right-hand side.
Looks like in the end it's going to be 3 relics for Hera in the middle of the map, and Tato's going to be able to grab 2. Oh, actually, maybe 3 even for Tatoh, because he's also guarding the one right next to Hera's base. And Tatoh does have the mobility advantage with the light cav, so we can always try to like poke and check if Hera is going for that one and try to make a dive. But Hera now has committed. He's doing a seed workshop, which means that economy, adding town centers is probably out of the question now. Even a second mining camp on the gold. So this is... I made a mistake earlier when I said it was not all in. This is all in.
Yeah, it's a ram being produced first, and that's how you know that it's definitely all in. He wants to get through the walls as quickly as possible, and a ram is the best way to do that. And I said I wanted some clownery.
Oh, you're getting
clownery is what we're going to get here.
Yeah, this is going to be very, like, this is such a tricky spot to play as well. I think if you're Tatoh, you also want to make sure you get Devotion, because again, Hera's all in on the monk play, right? Those monks, I'm not sure how much HP we have already, because they certainly have some upgrades. 50 HP already. Now a light cav has 7 attack and some bonus damage, which I'm sure we can see right now. It's 10 bonus damage.
Wow.
So they do 15, they need 4 hits now to kill a monk of the Aztecs.
All right, 4 hits. It's still a fair number. Of course, you can do 1 hit from 4 different light cav, and that will put a focus on the numbers that Tatoh has. 9 on the field, 1 more in the queue. There's the devotion that you asked for. And so good on Tatoh to have the recognition that he's likely facing an all-in as soon as that ram hits his walls, and he needs to mount a defense. It's times like these, myself, as a lower-level player, I'm wondering, do you just I mean, he clearly isn't. Do you just stop investing in villagers at this point? Have a villager lead and go full into military defense? Or why doesn't that happen more often?
It's because it's hard. Like, he doesn't know for sure what Hera's doing. Obviously, he looks at the score now. Hera's just clicked to Imperial Age. So now he knows for sure. Okay, Hera is all in. By the way, I did a mismath earlier. It is 3 hits still.
Gotcha.
7 plus 10 is 17 times 3 is 51, you know. So
look at you.
There we go. Yeah. Quick math.
Never do math on stream.
I know, I made a mistake.
That's what they say.
But yeah, Tatoh, again, just circling around with the scouts, looking to see if any monks come astray, like by themselves, popping out of the monastery, for example. But yeah, 2/2 relics. So the right one, did Tatoh snag the right one? I feel like his move. Oh, he went and snagged the one from the further away.
That's the stealthiest monk I've ever seen in my life. Look at him go. Look, the wall delete, though. For Tatoh, he thinks maybe he's found his moment to dive in on the monks.
Fully diving.
That's a little peculiar. Multiple conversions come through. We do have Spearmen, but even 4 more reinforcements coming around in the flanking position. And Tatoh looks like he's going to prove me a liar in saying that it's an ill-advised fight as he cleans this up. And as quickly as the all-in started, it may have been stopped.
Indeed. Hera wanted to fall back. He wanted to wait for Imperial Age so he could get more Imperial Age techs. Tatoh seizes the opportunity. He had built up a healthy amount of light cav. He came from behind as well with 4 light cav and just cleaned up the whole aggression of Hera. And now Tatoh is looking in a very comfortable spot, even ready to drop a castle if he wants to.
I'm putting you in the shoes of Hera now. Obviously, it's not a position you want to be in, but what are you thinking? What's your source of recourse? You are on the way to the Imperial Age, but you're stuck on 1 TC for the time being and 30 villagers down.
Honestly, I'm probably resigning here, to be completely honest. But Hera is a fighter, right? He's going to stick it. Tato's coming forward with a castle. Now, this might be a slight mistake. He does have a massive equal lead, but he also knows that Hera is on the way to Imperial Age. Now, Hera is taking stone behind this, so it's likely that Hera will drop his own castle. Okay, Tatoh does a safe castle in the middle. That's perfect. Exactly what he wants. This means that Tato's going to come out of this with a massive equal lead and 5 relics.
Yeah, it's the castle just to threaten the military buildings and the relics there of Hera. Not going to go so far as to look for the ultra-forward castle position and possibly throw the game away in a Treb battle. Forging coming in, pikes on the field here for Hera. He is going to look for a castle position, and at least we'll have something to target. But that's going to be where he rests all his hopes and dreams.
Yeah, this is a exact correct decision by Hera. As Tatoh clicks Imp, but Hera needs to force the issue somehow, right? And the only way he can make progress now is if that castle from Tatoh is not there. And how can he make that happen? By placing his own castle within range so he can start trebbing down the castle of Tatoh while his own castle defends his own trebuchet.
I also love how quickly Tatoh put the focus onto the monasteries against the Aztec player, right?
Yeah,
it's not just the castle, it's the light cav attacking, it's a ram produced to make sure that those relics are ejected and you stop the gold income and possibly take it all for yourself. Good conversions there by Hera might allow him to take this ram out. No, he'll retreat instead, but we do have a Treb in the queue. Once again, with block printing and trebuchets, let's not forget that Monks plus Siege can still be a deadly force.
Yeah, for sure. But Tatoh is only 2 minutes away from Imperial Age, right? He has 34 more vills, resources collected, already 3,500 more. And again, remember, Tatoh has 5 relics now. They're going to bring in gold and food. So Hera's on a timer, to put it easy, right? He needs to make something happen soon that makes Tatoh unable to recover. But the question is, how can he do that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a centralized push, really relying on Tatoh to make a mistake, right? But you want to put him in the best position to make that mistake, right?
Exactly.
That's really it. Now you're looking for ways to win, ways to get in. It's fortified wall even for Tatoh, playing ultra safe to make sure that he can secure this victory and close the series out in 3-1 fashion. Masonry as well. Look at the priority of the techs here for Tatoh. Yes, he's still in the Castle Age, but he's Burgundians. He could focus any Imperial Age tech, and it's the defensive ones.
Indeed. He just needs to buy his time to get to the point where he can produce those units that make sure that Hera cannot make any progress, right? He's dropping archery ranges. That could be either for skirmishers or hand cannoners, although I have not seen any fletching coming in, so probably he's going to now try to rush to chemistry and then do some hand cannoners.
Yeah, getting those villagers onto repairing that castle early to buy himself as much time as possible. Tatoh just now reaching the Imperial Age, clicks chemistry then. That's fine. Again, could have had it before, but that's nitpicking at this point because look at how clean those resources look at the top of your screen there for Tatoh, while they're nearly non-existent over there for Hera. Once again, 3 trebuchets and a bunch of monks is about all Hera has to make this happen. He's working on 1 TC eco, and he's not really certain what Tatoh has in the works behind. That's one of the most important things.
Look what Tatoh has made. 2 petards. He has 15 light cap. You know what Hera does not have? Defense at home. If those petards, are they sneaking on the right side? I see something blue all the way. Okay, that's just light cav.
Just like Cav.
2 petards sneak in on the right side, open the walls, and he just runs in. Hera's 48 villagers can only hide in 1 town center. And
there's the petard.
Oh, there we go.
So you had the right idea.
Yeah.
You were just ahead of the play.
Tatoh is also doing Faith. Not as expensive anymore because there's a devotion prerequisite now. But Faith means that you convert, on average, I think 2 seconds longer. So that's also a big counterplay to the monks of Hera. But Hera also has the pikemen, of course. But yeah, Tatoh is just going for the counterattack. The fortified walls are going to buy him a lot of time as Hera pushes forward in the middle, and then that means Hera has no defense at home.
Tatoh sacks the castle position. That's a small victory for Hera, but you have to imagine Hera's racking his brain right now. What does my opponent have in the works? I haven't seen any military buildings. I haven't seen his military in some time. Villager coming out now actually might give him the warning that he needs to see these petards coming in. Tatoh with a ton of light cav, and the petards hitting that gate means it will fall, and the light cav can stream into the base. A small delay, they think better of it, loop-de-loop before we dive in, and those 52 villagers of Hera back at home are under threat. And so it feels like it's an all-or-nothing push up the gut here for Hera against the raiding possibility and the defense that Tatoh can mount.
Tatoh also rushing his own defensive castle now behind his town center, a little bit more safe, but that one is going to be under siege as well. As we have a bug right now where Light Cav start attacking farms after you kill something, which is weird. But yeah, Tatoh also just taking the fight with the pikemen. He feels like he can clean up the pikes and then work on the villagers. Hera now, this is all or nothing for Hera. This push has to work.
Yeah, villagers on the run. In fact, he's going to evacuate his base with whatever can save their lives. He's coming forward for a secondary castle position. Tatoh trying to push it back while cleaning up the vills back at home here for Hera. Half the eco is idle. 49 villagers on the field. Half the eco is idle for Tatoh as well, though, as we speak. And now we have 4 trebuchets in the face of Tatoh with plenty of pikes and not a ton of military to answer it. He got a ton of damage done over there in Hera's base. So it seems like all he has to do is stop this push just once to end the game.
This is still dangerous, though. You know what units shine in super low economy situations? Monks. And Aztecs have the best monks in the game. Of course, he's losing a lot of economy now. Like, he's going to be limited to pretty much only monks at this point. But he has a healthy amount of spearmen, right? He still has 10 pikes, actually. But only 5 monks, 5 trebs who can clean all the castles. And Tatoh, he's going to need an answer. He's going to lose his second castle. He does not have a bomber cannon on the field. There's a situation here where Tatoh will struggle to find an engagement.
Yeah, Hera has depleted the safety deposit box. There's no resources coming in and none in the bank. And so it's all about what he has on the field now and what he can get done with it. But as you said, monks being the most crucial unit in that kind of scenario alongside those 5 trebuchets, which will make quick work of castles just like they have here. That's another castle position down for Tatoh, but we do have hand cannons starting to build up in the back. It's 14 in the queue, 12 on the field here, and a bombard cannon on the way. The question is, does Tatoh have enough to keep these forces out of his base? He's getting cornered in. It's an all-or-nothing push for Hera. Will he be able to make it happen and push us to a Game 5?
The converted hand cannoner finds Tatoh's bills on the right side, and Tatoh has a massive queue for hand cannoners, but 3 of his archery rangers are under the castle.
Yeah, that's a very difficult position to be in. Even if he ejects, they're going to be under the threat of either conversions or death to castle fire. We see that trebuchet having to retreat as well, which means the castle position will remain here for Hera overall. And so he's bought himself some time. Again, it's such a low econ push. He really can't afford to make any mistakes, but Tatoh is probably now feeling the pressure as he retreats from this stone position to that one converted hand cannoneer and does everything he can to keep this bombard cannon alive, because that's what he'll need to get the trebs off the field.
Indeed, we see Hera's economy 31 vills on gold right now, so he, again, only wood units, gold units, sorry. Tatoh has a healthy amount of hand cannoners right now, as you said, and he has 1 bombard cannon. That bombard cannon is the key right now for Tatoh to take out the trebs and stop Hera from making progress.
It is his lifeline, but I do appreciate the patience with which he is approaching this situation. It'd be very easy to get unnerved, dive in, and then lose the game as a result to the Aztec player underneath one of their castles. Instead, he's waiting for the proper numbers, or at least what he has assessed to be the proper numbers, and looking for the ideal positioning as well. The bombard cannon does snipe one of the trebs. The monks are looking for conversions there onto the hand cannons and won't find any. That all said, we still see military buildings fall. We see a TC fall now for Tatoh as well. This is a crazy game. I'm surprised we're still in it because Hera refuses to die.
Indeed, Tatoh now starting to boom outside of his walls. Funnily enough, the outside of his own walls are safe right now.
Exactly.
Hera is making slow progress, but again, I don't think Hera can still take a fight unless he's under his castle, right? So he has to be really careful here with how he maneuvers his army, where he chooses to engage, and when.
Yeah, this is a very tough position for Tatoh to be in as he loses more and more space in his home base. There's a lot of villagers there that if these TCs come down, all of a sudden they're under the threat of death.
Counterattack?
Counterattack, but there's no villagers there to kill, or at least very few. We'll see.
I mean, with the bomber cannon there, Eventually, there's not going to be a place for the vills to hide, right? So Hera, but the issue right now, I see, all the 5 relics of Tatoh were ejected by destroying the monastery. Hera's building a monastery. He suddenly might have 5 relics, and 5 Aztec relics can give you so many units.
I cannot believe the level of these players. I mean, they are pushing each other to the absolute limit, and so deservedly so are they both undefeated, but only one can remain. And right now, it's Tatoh looking to put the close on the series. It's 2-1 right now, only one more win, rather, to push him over the edge. It's more archery ranges coming up at home to get those hand cannoneer numbers up and mount the defense. This is all while base trade is kind of happening. We've got the bombard cannon rolling forward, like you said, to try and make quick work of all the villagers that remain at home. But we have another TC going forward for Hera. Both players looking to extend out across the map and find lifelines for themselves.
I think this is a massive misplay by Tatoh, actually. He sent all his hand cannoneers forward. What if you send half of them, right? 10 hand cannoneers will do the same damage as 20 right now. And if he had that army at home, Hera, like, look how comfortable Hera is moving into anywhere on the base right now. Monks are split 1 by 1, and Tatoh has no army to defend right now. Score is getting closer and closer, despite the population still being almost double for Tatoh.
Villagers on the run, but I think the point you just made, Viper, speaks to the difficulty of these high-pressure situations. We have the benefit of seeing everything, having all of the information. These guys are performing hundreds of actions per minute and trying to make these decisions on top of that. It's a difficult task, to say the least. Look at that. Hera escaping with a few villagers and walling behind, even now chasing Trebs away and beginning the pike grades underneath the TCs. Through all of this, he has managed perhaps to pick up a few of those relics. And,
Tatoh is not doing Flemish Revolution, but is using his villagers as warriors still. The monks from Hera are now so split that Tatoh feels comfortable just, you know, send 10 vills to take out a monk. If this gets converted,
bombard cannon.
Delete! He has to delete it.
Bombard cannon. He's not aware of it. It does get converted. We still have hand cannoneers there. So again, it's hard for Hera to expand.
Tatoh still has that 1 treble alive that we just saw Hera try to take, so that's his
We're on the run!
siege. All the vills are running. Hera could convert 10 vills here and have an economy.
Oh my goodness. Tatoh feels like he has to commit the entire civilization
This
to
is a
the
new
defense.
Flemish Revolution.
Yeah, exactly. Screw the button. Everybody get out there. I'm calling up the militia. Let's go, boys and girls. Let's run them down.
Always gonna be chased into the castle, though. Hera's baiting him into the castle, and if Tatoh starts losing villagers here, this can easily backfire.
Oh, I love this series so much, and now he thinks better of it as he starts to extend underneath the castle. A bunch of conversions have come through, but that means no more faith left for these monks. A number of the trebuchets have been forced to pack up and back up, and that means that Tatoh has a little bit of room to breathe. 3 more TCs going up around the right side. I can't even tell who's winning this game at this point, but it's epic to say the least.
Tatoh has brought his hand cannoneers back. They're here contributing to the fight, finally. Maybe Tatoh can now bring his trebuchet to start trebbing down the castle. And, I mean, Hera still has a lot of monks, and they're getting faith all the time. Hera has more vills working right now than Tatoh.
You know what? This may have been a big play, though, for Tatoh actually to get all of these villagers out, because it felt like he was getting cornered, and those villagers were doomed to die in the long run. Now feeling like he has enough of a presence on the right side of the map, he can relocate his entire eco, making Hera aware of it, though, as he does. And so now Hera's going to think about, where do I put my pressure next? Do I continue to push into the base, or do I look for those expansions?
Dash, I think Hera's in a better spot.
Do you really?
He has 5 relics in that. No, wait. Tatoh snagged 3 relics. Oh, and put them down there.
Ooh. Well, the trebuchets are still there, though, and I think they have their sights set on exactly that.
We have a bombard cannon with bonus damage from the Burgundians, right? But Hera's about to snipe it with the light cannon and converted hand cannoneers. Traitors!
This is incredible focus by each of these players. They've got a million places to look, and it feels like they're looking in the right place at the right time. And so Hera will keep putting the pressure on this base. Look for those final 2 relics to pick up and bring back home. It seems like Hera might start to agree with you, Viper, as he puts up 2 more TCs. That tells me he's feeling a little bit more comfortable in this game and like he does have an avenue back into it.
Indeed. Tatoh has gotten a healthy farming setup, though. He has 23 on farms as well. He's preparing here. Probably adding stable to make light cav again. But yeah, it's so hard now to engage for Tatoh, those monks. Despite having both faith and devotion, Hera is still getting his conversions. And we see now getting more and more conversions. Army numbers equal.
I also want to point out that we're 43 minutes into a game and neither player has made it to 100 pop. That tells you how much action has been in this game, that we're resting just underneath that. Of course, Tatoh still has the advantage in the villager numbers. If he can get them effectively working like he's trying to do right now, he will have, ideally, the economy to overwhelm Hera in the end.
Indeed, but if Hera realizes that there's 3 relics down in the bottom, oh, Tato's adding a tease there. Tatoh does not want to give up this area. He knows if he loses those 3 relics as well, suddenly there's 5 Aztec relics generating gold, and that's something you not want to be up against for sure.
All right, let's take a breath ourselves, as it feels like the players are maybe doing the same. Of course, they're still going a mile a minute.
Monks overextending.
Yeah, those are fantastic kills for a TC to find, but we're also looking for conversions onto those hand cannons, and we retreat just in time to find none of them.
Yeah, and the monks again being pulled into the town center fire. Tatoh could getting some monk kills there. By the way, can you explain the meme for me? Was that nuts?
I didn't even look at it, man.
Okay.
I didn't even look at it. Are you kidding me? I got so many things to look at right now. I'm barely keeping up with the number of words I got to spit out my mouth.
With all this said, I think we have to be very critical of Hera here. Like 45 minutes and no horse color. I mean, come on.
Come on.
on.
Let's pick that to criticize, my friend. I mean, he's been on a gold eco this entire game. Any food units he's managed to find have actually been conversions, and actually these are perhaps mispositioned hand cannoneers.
They're trapped.
Now sandwiched between TCs and the monks here from the Aztec player.
Oh,
he's going to try to avoid the conversions, but he walks underneath and into some house walling. Hera's going to look for it, and he does get it. And a delete on top of everything. I mean, a heads-up play, because you don't want to hand any of those over.
If you're Tatoh there, maybe a better decision just go backwards and commit, try to get as many monks as you can.
I could see that.
I think so. But yeah, look at Hera. Tatoh is housed now. How many houses does Tatoh have in his base, right? He's going to have to rebuild every single house as he's... Yeah, I mean, look at the population. It's getting closer and closer, only 30 apart. Again, that's mostly villagers. But again, Hera has 2 relics. I assume it could become 5 eventually. But Hera as well does not have the safety of his castles anymore. So if Hera wants to now go out of the map and start engaging the proper armies of Tatoh, he will not do that under the safety of his castle.
Still such a wild game. 18 monks for Hera to control. I mean, that's something I don't envy, the micro that's required to make that work. But he is making it work. He's found the relics, Viper, and he's put his sights on those relics. He will make quick work of the monastery. He has monks in position to pick those up and bring them back. There aren't enough light cav there to deal with all the monks, and so it looks like he'll finally get himself back on to that relic generation that the Aztecs oh so want. But to your point, we have a much safer economy now set up on the right side here for Tatoh, and eventually Hera's going to have to find a way to start pressuring that. He does have a Treb over there already to try and start dealing the damage.
Yeah, Hera's economy is still not great, right? He's not back to the point where he can start producing pikemen again to deal with the light cav that Tatoh now has. But Tatoh might lose a town center now on the bottom right, as he's being pressured here as well. Tatoh cannot defend this, and Tatoh still has 20 plus villagers here, right? Light cav coming from behind, but again, there's hand cannons and like 12 monks.
Oof. Committing the boys and girls once again, as well as the light cav to try and take out a number of these monks. I have to imagine that while some will go down, ultimately the Aztec monks will win out. I don't know if any conversions are actually going to make it through, though. And so these villagers may eventually whittle down the monks in the end. We have a few more hand cannoneers firing away, and this could be, in fact, part of the decider here for Tatoh as he finally cleans up a bunch of these monks. He still is getting hit by Trebs. He's still trying to return fire. He's taking damage in the eco on the right-hand side to Light Cav, and now another castle position up for Hera from which he will launch an attack.
And this castle will be so hard for Tatoh to deal with, as Tatoh suddenly only 19 villas in front, and that's going to be lower even more and more. And the village is actually getting a trebuchet here. I don't think he has sappers or anything, but those villas are definitely packing a punch. But yeah, Hera behind this will get 3 relics as well, and he has a way better position on the map now. And Hera has taken the score lead as well after being like 2,000 score behind earlier in the game.
Can you believe it? A score lead for a player that's been under 100 pop the entire game.
Oh, he's preparing the Treb.
Repairing the Treb, looking for more conversions, has a couple converted hand cannoneers there that will slowly remove these villagers from the map and keep that trebuchet alive. We have a Treb battle here on the right-hand side, as that feels like the new focus of the map for both of these players, with most of Tato's eco pressed against these wood lines.
Tato's just keeping those villas alive, battering the Treb as he's converting them to further his own economy. But yeah, at this point, Hera is about to take the economy lead. He has the military advantage. He has the relics now. Look at resources.
73 to 72 villagers. Viper, how did we get here?
Look at resources collected. It's 20,000.
What is going on? What am I witnessing? The craziest game of Age of Empires I have ever seen. NAC 5 delivers.
How many light cav is 20,000? He could have had 20,000 light cavs and still had the same.
Never do math on cast, Viper. It's a lot. That's all I know. It's too many, in fact. And Tatoh is still trying to find a way to deal with the incessant pressure that Hera is throwing his way. He did manage to take that castle position down, but his own castle is under threat of falling as well. 140 stone in the bank with only one villager mining stone currently and not enough repairing. He's now looking for raids. He says it's back about the eco. I've got to find damage. I've got to keep Hera with split focus around the map. It's getting messy, and it's just about who can pay attention to the right thing at the right time.
Another trap goes down. Tatoh now trying to work on the 2-3 traps remaining of Hera. Tatoh is starting to do some raids now, but his scouts only have the first armor upgrade, so diving under TCs and castles is not that clever for him. But yeah, this is all about the trap fight, but Tatoh spending all his gold buying stone to repair the castle, and he's about to run out of stone and gold, and this castle is not long for life, or is it?
Woo!
Oh!
Is it alive for just another moment?
Oh,
There
but
goes
the
another
stone
trap
is
volley,
gone.
and it will eventually fall. It's 3 trebs on either side. Now they target each other. Let's see what Tatoh has in terms of a recipe for success. He's stayed primarily on hand cannoneers and light cap, but it seems like he's now on the back foot. Plenty of Aztec monks still up there at the front with pikes to play defense. These Aztec monks pack such a powerful punch, and Tatoh hasn't found an effective way to deal with them. And that's scary to say when he's already playing the monk counter unit.
Yeah, I think Tato's best answer to monks, it might sound funny, but his traps. That might be the best way for him to actually dwindle down the monk numbers of Hera. But again, Tatoh is about to be in a situation again where he has to evacuate his whole economy once again. And again, he has so many monks. Tatoh does not have an army to engage the army of Hera right now.
Yeah, you can feel both of these players playing at their absolute limit. It looks like now, with another moment to breathe.
Flemish Revolution again!
Coming forward. Yeah, thinks better of it. Those pikes rotate over. Doesn't want to give more conversions and more economy over to Hera in the end.
Ooh.
While all this is happening, Tato's going back to his tried and true method. Right?
And the relics are there! The 5 relics are there!
5 relics and a castle currently undefended here from Hera. And so this can be hard for Hera to respond to. He has a slow-moving military, right? It's going to be really difficult for him to come over and respond, and so instead going to keep targeting the eco of Tatoh, while Tatoh now reprioritizes the castles and the relics.
Indeed, this castle will go down. Hera is also building a TC on the left side. I'm not sure if Tatoh noticed that, but that's a healthy amount of vills as well. If Tatoh goes there next with his trebs, Hera might suddenly lose 15-20 vills. He's already losing a ton.
Yeah, I think Tatoh said, fine, you know what? If you're just going to come at my economy, then I will do the same to you. And now it's about who can kill who first, it feels.
Can we see Tato's economy? It looks like the red swarm is coming in, the TC goes down, and Tato's economy is now in shambles. They're both trading blows left and right, as Tato's also... Ooh, Tatoh did sneak attack on the top. He was able to snipe one trap of Hera, but his economy is... He's running back to his original base!
It's incredible to think that through all of this, the numbers for either side is about the same, but for once, Hera has more population, 123 to the 100 of Tatoh. Tatoh, exactly right, retreating back to the safety of what was his base and his walls. Although they are no longer there, the fight continues, and once again, the villagers find themselves being called up to battle in a militia-like fashion. More TCs go down, and the entire extension of Tato's economy is starting to fall. It's 76 villagers over here for Hera. It's down to 56 for Tatoh. And so while a lot of these villagers are doomed to die, we need to take a look back to see if the relics have been dealt with. They have, at the very least. The castle position is gone, but it looks like it might be difficult for Tatoh to recover with only 100 wood in the bank and the inability to put up a new TC.
Yeah, Hera adding more economy now. He's probably feeling more comfortable as the game goes on because he knows he'd also dealt with most of the traps now. Tatoh population is starting to go down to half of Hera, and it looks like Hera has finally done it in what has been one of the craziest arena games I've ever seen. But it's not over yet.
It's not over yet, but it does at the first time, or for the first time in the game, feel like an inevitability that Hera might come away with it. He's now up to 82 in the villager count, has the military advantage as well. He's put Tatoh in a very tough position. Tatoh with very little in the queue. In fact, nothing in the queue when it comes to military numbers, and it's only these 18 hand cannoneers that his hopes and dreams rely on. Let's remember, he's still ahead in the series. So at the very worst, we're going to a Game 5, and I, for one, would not be mad about that.
Well, going to a Game 5 after the way this game was looking at the start might still leave some doubts in your mind. But yeah, Tatoh, he has 2 relics now. He's still collecting. I mean, you never know. But yeah,
in hand.
GG is called, and wow.
Oh my goodness.
He knows, Hera knows he should not have won that game. He knows this was an amazing comeback, so he should be proud of his performance.
That was one of the most incredible Age of Empires comebacks, if not the most incredible that I have seen in my lifetime.
This is like, again, double-edged sword. Like, Tatoh knows he should never have lost.
True.
He knows that somewhere he went wrong because he was in such an amazing spot. But then again, on the flip side, Hera forced the mistakes out of him, right? And that's what true champions does. And like, yeah, again, comebacks like this are borderline impossible against a player like Tatoh. So massive, massive credit to Hera here.
Yeah, two sides to every story. So it's exactly right that while he did rely on Tatoh to slip up in an area or two, he needed to be in the position to take advantage of that.
Exactly.
And he did exactly that. So now we're evened up at 2-2. And we go back to that discussion we had following the very long third game, where when you manage to come out as the victor in that long game, you're going to feel like you have the momentum. You're going to feel really good about your chances in the long run. And now it's Tatoh left to sit and wonder what went wrong. Where did he let it go? But as much as he wants to sit in those thoughts, you got to shove it out your brain and refocus in towards this fifth and final map. It will be Desert Void. Both players with 2 civs available.
But then again, as well, Tatoh should also take comfort or confidence in the fact that he put himself in such an amazing spot from the opening, right?
Yes.
The opening was perfect from Tatoh. Nothing wrong. There is maybe a case that he should have stayed in Castle Age, right?
Yeah.
Instead of going in, doing Faith, all these upgrades, that could have been translated into a lot more units, right, on the field. And then maybe staying in Castle Age to make sure he never loses map control and doesn't get that castle in his face. Maybe that would have been the way.
Right? Yeah, we have the kind of dueling castle positions in the middle of the map. While he built 1 ram to target the monasteries, to your point, maybe you just go 4 or 5 rams.
Yeah.
Go for the castle as well, right?
Add
Just
more
try and end the game there.
Yeah, add more stables. Maybe add skirms in Castle Age, right? You had options because he had such a good economy behind that, right? But still, we go back to the point where Tatoh decided to counterattack with his hand cannoners and the bomber cannon.
Yeah. I liked the move, but you had a great little tidbit, which is 5 hand cannoneers as effective as 15 when you have undefended villagers. And so maybe an overcommitment of resources in that moment when he could have had more at home to defend. But again, easy for us to say as we're the ones sitting in this position and not the ones whose heart rates are going sky high and on the verge, or rather playing for the only undefeated record to remain in the tournament. So there's a lot on the line here as these players sit at 2-2. You could see there the couches are packed behind us because it's a series that nobody wants to miss.
Yeah, and I mean, like, this is what you want, right? The 2 undefeated players so far going head-to-head, 2-2 in a best-of-5. We have a decided game, and that's exactly what we want from...
I feel like we need a snack break. I need fuel, man. Whew.
It's just one more game, you know? These games have not taken that long. It's been super close, though. It's been amazing, right?
Oh, we are
such
a joy. I'm feasting on the gameplay. Oh, they put us on the couch.
Just lay down on the couch.
Thank
it's
you
fine.
so much, our
Nice.
friends. Yeah. Oh, Lordy. Okay. Well, we already had the conversation a little bit earlier, but let's rehash it for anybody who may have been joining us just here at the end of Game 4, heading into Game 5. It's going to be Desert Void. And we had hypothesized, of course, that Poles feels like the obvious choice for Tatoh. For me, Georgians for Hera. But by the same token, at this point, I'm not going to be surprised by anything in the series.
Yeah, I think Persians is also a valid choice, right? Just a really solid civ these days. But yeah, maybe Jordan's on a map like Desert Void still feels more natural. But again, I think the what we're going to be looking towards is what civ does Tatoh pick. Because he has 2 options that I think both are viable. Of course, we saw Doubt with Poles previously, so Poles have already been played on this map. I think it was played in the qualifiers as well. But, oh, there we go.
We got some snacks flying in for us. Thank you so much, production, looking out for us.
But yeah,
much appreciated. They've also been polling incredible hours, so hey, this is a good opportunity for us to thank them for all of their tireless work. Not just production, but our observers, our production assistant, Nilly, of course, for being an incredible host to the tournament, and Gamer Legion for supplying this incredible venue.
And
not
the
to forget
co-casters.
Red Bull, Surfshark.
Yeah.
Oh, and us, yes, of course. The
yeah.
lovely player co-casters who step onto the desk to give us all the knowledge.
Indeed. So, prediction time.
Prediction time.
What civ is Tatoh playing?
A Pulse.
You think so? I say Burmese. I haven't actually talked with him about this.
Yeah.
But I say Tatoh throws in a curveball and he goes Burmese to go around by. It makes sense in my head.
Actually, the more I think about the map, because it is always a map, because the bases are so centralized, right, and there's so much open space. Arambai, pretty effective at getting through walls, right? Where if you're just playing like poles and going nice, you might struggle a bit more to get through and actually deal some damage. I actually like it more and more now that you're talking about it. I just think, the bread and butter of Pole's economy and the safety of getting maybe 2 or 3 full works up, letting that food economy explode, could just be the way that he wants to play it.
Yeah, he might take a different approach as well to Poles than Doubt did, for example. Doubt went forward and drop the towers and try to be aggressive at the start. Tatoh might have, I mean, Tatoh has been playing poles for years already, and he's one of the guys that kind of like pioneered how to place the folwarks. Like he would build his 2 starting houses right next to the TC to leave more space for folwarks around, right? He's one of the guys that knows how to do that, but we're about to see.
I see 14s in the chat, and don't you worry, we're about to get this game started as the players are in, the fingers are fast firing after a short break to recompose themselves. It's do or die time in the battle for first place here between Tatoh and Hera. It's been evened up at 2-2. Like I said before, these players pushing themselves to the limit, and the Viper is correct in his prediction. It will be Tatoh in the blue with the Burmese up against Hera in the red with the Georgians.
I am excited to see what Tatoh is cooking. I mean, he could go with Pikeman Monk as well. I mean, he could even play Knights without a problem, right? But the way I see this now is like Georgians, you're going to expect them to end up with Cavalry no matter what. Maybe Manaspa, maybe like just regular Knights. Georgians, a lot of people don't do this, but Cav Archers will also generate HP. As we can see here, down on the bottom there, Cavalry regenerates 5, 10, 15 HP in Feudal, Castle Age, and Imperial Age. So that's definitely a civ bonus that you want to play around with Georgians. You also have buildings costing less to repair, which can be very useful because there's so much cracked terrain on this map. So if your castle is under fire, that will be cheaper to repair.
Fortified churches just boosting the economy even more if you can get those sprinkled throughout your base. And then, like we said, the Manaspa, just an incredibly powerful late game unit, especially in mass, continuing to grow in strength as you produce them. On the other side, though, let's talk about the Burmese, because this is the surprise predictive pick here from the Viper. What's the value of this pick?
Indeed. They also have a very underrated economy, in my opinion. As you see, lumber camp technologies are free. So upon reaching Feudal Age, you have double Blade Axe. Upon reaching Castle Age, you have instantly double Bowsaw. So your wood economy in particular is amazing. And on top of that, your infantry will also get bonus damage. So that's why we talked about them maybe going pikemen earlier, right? Because the pikemen will have +1, +2, +3 damage depending on the age you're in. And then monastery technologies as well, 50% cheaper, which means that monks are very viable options. Even monk aggression, like you can go forward, do redemption, all those things as well. And
just got killed by monks, kill your opponent, return the favor with the monks.
Exactly.
Obviously, you do get to see all the relics visible on the map from the game start. However, I will say less relevant on this map because the relics almost always spawn in a star-like fashion. While their exact position will not be the same from map to map, there will always be one in each relative quadrant or corner and one at the center of the map. So, yes, you can go straight for them, but a less relevant civ bonus, to say the least.
I noticed you ignored the last civ bonus there. Is there a reason for that?
I gotta go back and see what it was. Elephants having +1 armor? Yeah, because, well, I'll be surprised if we get there. Okay. But you know what? The way that these two players are playing, we've gone late in many games, so maybe we do.
They actually have unique techs as well that help the elephants. I mean, you never say never, right? But Georgians also have Halberdier, they have Handcannoners. So, yeah, it feels like Georgians have all the toolboxes, all the units in the toolbox that they need. They don't have Bomber Cannon, though, so if it goes late, Bomber Cannon from Burmese could be important here as well. But again, my hopes and wishes are for Arambai.
Alrighty, well, we wait on bated breath for that, but we have to get to the Castle Age before we have an opportunity to see that. And on this very map, we saw Hera just take the aggression to Jordan in the previous set and end it in the Feudal Age. Jordan leaving just a couple of tiles open on his wall. Hera is the kind of player who will take full advantage of that, run under TCs, and look to make quick work of your eco. 30 seconds away from the Feudal Age is Hera. He's the one who will have the advantage in terms of Feudal Age timing, and the barracks is coming up.
Indeed. We saw Tatoh build the barracks earlier. He's now doing a second lumber camp as well, so this is going to be a somewhat economic approach by Tatoh. Wonder if he will do any scouts. I mean, like, we are having an amazing set there with Tatoh and Hera. It feels like it's the end of the day, but after this set, we have Leary against Mr. Yo as well.
Oh, come on. We are spoiled. We are spoiled for brilliant Age of Empires here at NAC 5. But at the moment, our full focus on these two players, battling it out for the top spot. Good house to just get a little bit of chip damage there.
Tatoh does not have Loom. Hera looks to pounce, but Loom will kick in 5 seconds, so he should not lose any villagers here.
Okay, good play by both players. Good awareness by both players. Scouting information coming in. Walls continue to come up.
Hera does not have Loom either. He's doing it right now, but Tatoh is coming in, so he could commit here. He might get 2 villager kills if he commits, but yeah, Loom. Oh, Tatoh could be trapped. Oh, Tatoh.
Oh. That was a very, very risky move, but luckily doesn't get punished for it. Neither does Hera for the lack of Loom. So both players sort of getting away with something there. Now with Loom up, he could still commit for a villager kill. 1v1 in the Feudal Age, even with Loom. The scout will win, and it looks like Hera is going to retreat because Tatoh is willing to commit.
Yeah, but he might not get it. Oh, there was a hit not registering earlier as well. But yeah, he will delay that a little bit. Hera is not going to be housed anyway, so not a problem. Now, this is where an advantage comes in for Tatoh. The Spearman has +1 attack, like we said earlier, so any Spearman fight is favored Tatoh. But Tatoh not doing any stables. He's playing pure Spearman defense route, so maybe it is a transition towards that later Pikeman Monk technologies.
Now, this could be concerning, though, because Hera already has 4 scouts onto the field with 1 more on the way. 2 of his scouts coming forward, being tracked, though.
Stone. What could that be?
I wonder. Now, obviously, we know where that plans to go if Tatoh can get himself to the Castle Age. And yes, only investments into Spears for defense at the moment. 6 on the field, though. That's a good number to respond to the 5 scouts that Hera has found himself onto.
Yeah, Tatoh has to be careful, though, long term, because Hera, as soon as those scouts are grouped up, he will start taking fights with lone Spearmen, right? Because he knows his scouts will regenerate HP over time. Oh, wait, Tatoh is going forward. He wants to tower rush.
Wow. And showing his hand very early by walking straight up the middle into the vision here of Hera. So Hera won't be surprised by this, but still has to find a way to respond. It's a lot of spearmen, and with only scouts, he'll have a hard time fighting these villagers away. The question is, what area of the map does Tatoh want to target? It looks like he's heading towards the right side, is eyeing that wood line and possibly the berries as well for a tower position. Hera's going to have to track it, and is doing so with those spearmen. Again, won't be surprised, but needs a response prepared.
Yeah, Hera's map is really... What? That's so weird.
Not what I expected.
I guess it's to take control of the gold and then maybe long-term drop a castle there? Long-term, maybe?
Okay, establishing a guaranteed forward castle position, so less about dealing damage in feudal and just guaranteeing that he will get the castle up in Castle Age.
I mean, I don't see another logical reason for that tower there, right? It's a weird spot. It doesn't target past the walls here, but here we go. Tatoh, great micro by Hera once again, pulling the weak HP scout away, and that scout will regenerate to full HP, I guarantee you.
Yep. We have another spear there to try and defend, but 5 scouts is very dangerous, and they'll happily take more fights against spears, and now about to find a villager back here looking to wall. The quick walls, or rather, the wall won't complete, but maybe the quick walls will be there for Tatoh. Nice. He does find it, needs to get those extra taps like you were talking about earlier, and Hera will look for the weakest wall.
Oh, he could trap, Gate. I see it. Okay, not anymore. The scouts got out of there. He could have done a gate on the bottom diagonal and then on the left diagonal through the corner, right?
I like it.
It's hard to repair though with 1 will, but it would have looked cool.
Okay, another tower coming up on that wood line.
Overjump!
And a hole.
No, wait, is there 2 there?
No, that's a hole.
Oh, it is? You're right. There's no shade there. Tatoh could go in.
Oh my goodness! That's the perfect millisecond to find that hole and get the palisade down. Again, those would have been potent spears because they do have, or because they are Burmese spears at that.
This is also a thing, like tower rushing a guy that has a mule cart. It's like, oh, I guess I'll move my mule cart.
Yeah, I go elsewhere.
Yeah. So that's like a little bit like counterintuitive as well. But I mean, like at this point, Tatoh is committed. And says a lone villager. Oh, I get a quick recap on the quick wall, solid, and you see he's not looking away, right? He makes sure he gets the taps. That's how you have to do it.
Very, very, very well done. I also like that he's taken the time to wall around these towers, right? It is such a minor thing, but that extra bit of time spent gives you the safety to know that that position will remain at least until the Castle Age.
Is this villagers from Hera running on the top side? Are they looking for a gold? Or is that a counter? I think that, wait, can we
towers?
I believe this is looking for gold. Can we get the POV of Hera? Does he see any safe gold right now? This is not where we want to see. We want to see, do we see, okay, that's the safe gold, but he doesn't see any other safe gold around his base.
Yeah, he has gold positions in the middle of the map that he can reach out for. There is a gold position, but like you say, there's military there for Tatoh, right outside the left-hand side of his base, and he's dropping a tower, or he's just walling it up straight up. Love that.
This is a great move by Hera though, right? Tatoh will not expect the vills to be out here. So that should be safe gold income from Hera. Tatoh, like Hera's even taken out the pavilion, the army tent here, just in case the vision would show it somehow, right? So yeah, I'm not sure if Tatoh had no way of knowing that happened, right? Tatoh also lost his scouts, so there's no way for him to actually confirm whether Hera is out. And Hera just sold his stone for gold in order to get to the castle edge.
Yeah, I think Tatoh will be even more unawares because he has that outpost there. He has military on the left-hand side, so he's probably thinking if he was to move out, I would have seen it, right? I would have caught it. But Hera taking the ultra-safe, wide angle to get those 4 villagers out onto gold. It could be crucial in the long term. And in all this time, Hera managed to get himself up to the castle edge, or at least in terms of the click.
Yeah, we're again in a situation where Hera will hit castle edge super fast. The question is, what does he do with it, right? He can obviously start dropping those fortified churches to further his economy. but he doesn't have stone for town centers anymore because he just sold it, right? Oh, and he gets in. There was an opening up above the blacksmith here. As the scouts come in again, you don't want those scouts in your base, especially when he hits Castle Age and he heals faster, and it could be light cav. So Tatoh definitely wants to make sure he's safe everywhere. How much stone is left on that? Tatoh might suddenly find himself with 4 idle villagers. 70 more stone to mine.
Yeah, 70 more stone, and of course scouts nearby. So even if he is to, mine through that, then those villagers could lose their lives.
Great, I have to say, great decision by Hera to go so far for gold, right? Tatoh is now checking around Hera's base. Is there any gold here I missed, right? But Hera went all the way across to Tatoh's side to take the gold. So yeah, Tatoh is extremely unlikely to ever spot that.
Exactly. So really it would just be about whether or not Hera ever leads him to that. And you can see how he's hugging this tree line, making sure that the spears wouldn't catch vision of that gold as they chase away. And so keeping those villagers safe for the time being. It's 17 seconds until we reach the Castle Age for Hera, with forging behind that. What is the play once he reaches it?
Like I said, I expect some fortified... Oh, maybe he does a siege pressure here, right? Yeah, siege. He has light cav, siege. He can do monks. That's a fortified church, right? It will also increase the gold income he has there. I mean, he doesn't have that much gold to make siege units or monks, for that matter. But still, 1 mangonel to pressure this. But then again, he expects Tatoh to be taking stone there, right? But Tatoh has mined all that stone, and he has moved to a different location where maybe Hera doesn't find him.
Yeah, now all of a sudden that gold position's very, very safe for Hera, right? With the fortified church coming up. So he feels pretty good about the forward position. And all of this right before Tatoh arrives to spot.
Oh, he turns around. Okay, question now is, Tatoh is 2 minutes away from Castle Age. He's doing armor on the spears, so again, they will have +2 attack upon reaching Castle Age. Probably will see a pikeman, but Tatoh will be ready to drop a castle. Question is, does he drop it defensively, or does he drop it forward? He only has, what, 4 vills forward? So a forward castle could be very risky against all these light cav. But then again, a defensive castle, Tatoh doesn't know yet, but there's a mangonel gonna be nearby, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, he might get lucky. Well, there you go. He spots the Siege Workshop, and now that he's seen that, I think the answer is drop the castle at home.
Yes, unless he finds out that he wants to do a monastery at home, get cheap redemption, 50% cheaper, and then try to convert mangonels. However, but yeah, I mean, like, this is where Tatoh has to make he has to commit, right? He's put in a very tough spot now where making the wrong decision might cost him the game completely.
Yeah, he has to commit. He also has to find 100 more stone. He only has 3 villagers mining it currently.
He has Doubt's friend there, so it should be fine.
The market play, there you go. 100 stone bought for 160 gold. This also means that his gold supplies have been depleted, so no other upgrades can come in, at least the ones that cost gold immediately upon reaching the Castle Age. Castle Age comes in now. He's seen the mangonel. He's seen the pressure. It will be a defensive castle. I really appreciate this positioning. Deleting a farm to place under the TC. Plenty of spears to make sure that the light cav aren't necessarily going to be a threat, and just has to worry about that mangonel.
Indeed. Oh, nice quick wall there. Tatoh, I mean, those light cav, again, they regenerate over time, so Tatoh wants to make sure they don't get to run around, roam freely around here. So far, good job by Tatoh, but the mangonel is moving forward. Mangonel might even circle around to the top to start hitting those villagers building the castle, but it looks like Tatoh is dealing with this very nicely.
Yeah, split from the light cav to try and pull the spearmen apart, but Tatoh follows the split with the split of his own. But all that said, actually the light cav went out the fight on the wood line, and now there are some villagers that might go down. Not enough space in that TC for all of the villagers, but the castle does go up in the end. It a very tight and compact base, but at least a safe one.
Tatoh comes out of this with the same amount of villagers. However, Hera has added town centers and Hera has wheelbarrows. So economy is still very much better for Hera, as he's adding a seed workshop at home as well to start cleaning up those towers. Tatoh now has started a Rambai production. Yeah,
gonna be difficult for Hera to find too much more forward progress, at least into the main base of Tatoh with the presence of that castle and just a mangonel on the offense. So now it's about whether or not Tatoh feels comfortable taking those Rambai and moving forward for a counterattack.
We see Hera as well taking advantage of the fact that there's so much cracked terrain here. He's just sitting there working away on the buildings. The blacksmith is going down, the market the market is down, but multiple houses. That's the reason as well why he broke in so fast, right? Houses were on cracked terrain, which means they take a lot more damage. And, finds the gold though. There's a monk though, but yeah, Hera picking off 2 villagers, Tatoh. Good start. Again, once those Arambai numbers reaches, they're similar to Camel Archers, right? Once you reach a certain number, suddenly they're like, there's no stopping them.
Right.
So if Tatoh can get to like 10, 15 Arambai and then maybe add some mangonels or maybe even a second castle drop, right? maybe then Hera will find it hard
How
to deal
long
with
has
it.
that villager been stuck like that? That's a tough one because you're not getting an 28% efficiency.
Oof.
That's
Oh,
brutal.
he tried. Oh,
Hey!
hey, you made it. Oh,
We just had to talk about it.
Tatoh actually microed that. He moved the villager to the other side.
I like to believe it was us.
Okay.
Divine intervention to make that villager work yet again. It shouldn't be forgotten that there are all of those towers forward as well, right? While we did have a lot of focus on Tatoh and the defense of his base, he still has incredible forward positioning and threat onto Hera's eco, and has even forced another siege workshop up at home.
Hera made a ram there, but a ram can be killed by the pikes or the knight of Tatoh here. So the ram is maybe not an ideal choice for Hera in the end. As we see Lightcap chasing the Aramba, but again, once Tatoh groups up this and has 6, 7, 8 Aramba, he's doing Bloodlines now as well, probably will get Husbandry. At that point, he's going to start like one-tapping these Lightcap.
Yeah, Pikeman just moving in to get a little information and maybe kill a villager. She found herself where she didn't want to be. Rambai rolling forward. A whole bunch of light cav here for Tatoh, but I'm not sure they want to fight under the fire of 2 towers. Could be a difficult choice for him to make for now, continuing the chase, but now turning onto the pike. I think this will end up being a fairly solid trade for Tatoh in the end, even if the pikes do get cleared up. The Rambai can always run, use their mobility to match the mobility of the light cav.
Indeed, they're doing it now. There's also some small hills he can jump up on now and then. But yeah, you see now like how they're like... Of course, Hera's getting good traded simply due to pure numbers, but you see the line of dead bodies of the red scouts here. Yeah. Once Tatoh get those numbers going, maybe it's even enough right now. With the towers helping out, those Aramba will clean everything.
Yeah, 1 Aramba has fallen so far. There goes another, but in the end, I think he'll still at least have 1 alive, if not all 3. And then that Ram is looking a lot less effective.
Yeah, unfortunately for Tatoh, he lost the Knight here, so the Aramba are not that good against Rams, unfortunately for Tatoh. Oh, might get 2 conversions here. Ooh. Tatoh, at this point you just commit, right? You're already so close. Huh? Wait, did Tatoh already do a devotion?
Wow. Yeah, I was thinking commit or delete, like you were saying. Ends up only losing 1 in the end, and so sort of lucky in that trade. Does lose a villager, though, to boot. Another TC coming down to put him onto 3 in total. Hera been on 3 for a little bit of time, and that's netted him about a 10 villager lead overall. Still trying to rid his base of these towers that surround, but the Arambai coming forward and some villagers as well to deal with it.
There's also a monk there, but it's under fire by the tower, so this monk might not get the conversion. Tatoh Garrison, the one convert all the villas as well. So the monk goes down, great move by Tatoh. He should be able to clean the ram as well before the tower goes down. As we see Hera moving to the middle now, making another town center. I think that's on stone, as we see devotion just finished for Tatoh.
Yeah, might be able to clear the ram, but even then, now with the mangonel there and the light cav, I think he's bound to lose these villagers along with the tower position. Villagers are trying to run, but they won't make it far before the light cav clean them up.
Yeah, indeed. I want to say, is that 4th TC from Hera on stone? Because that's the one thing Hera is missing right now. Yeah, stone. Stone was the only income he did not have, so that makes a lot of sense that he wants to force that. But I think that's in vision of Tatoh as well. Tatoh still has all the outposts spread around, right? So he sees everything that's happening here. If the Arambai were in the middle of the map, they could have easily caught that town center, right? So
there are 11 villagers in the queue right now here for Hera, and that's with 300 food in the bank and 30 on food. Yeah. So the food eco looking good.
Indeed. I think Tatoh is in a spot where he would like to get more vills on stone, so maybe he can think about a 4 castle, right? Imagine a 4 castle on those 2 town centers of Hera, for example, right?
That would be oh so pretty. Those also built on cracked terrain and securing a very important wood line, it seems, as well as a lot of farming space for the long run.
Hera is adding multiple archery ranges here. Question is this going to be just for skirms? As he answers my question right away. Elite Skirmisher on the way. Skirmishers will be Hera's answer to the Arambai. But again, if you mix in a mangonel with the Arambai, as Hera has a little bit of slow reaction here compared to what we're used to, they also see that how deadly Arambai can be, right? You just need 1 or 2 taps to like snipe a villager, so.
Exactly. Those are Arambai splitting up into 2 groups to try and look for more villager kills, even finding a monk as well. Now, fletching is in. That will help in the defense, either from the TC or the fortified church, but at the moment, the Arambai standing just outside of range and preventing a lot of farming from going on.
This is a situation where it's easy for us to say, just dive in there, there's no defense, right? But Hera doesn't want to doubt. Jordan!
One more try. One more try.
Freaking Andy.
There, close.
Tatoh doesn't want to take the risk. He's just going back again. Like, I mean, Tatoh feels comfortable, relatively comfortable here with the Arambai on the map, but he also knows that the chances that Hera is far ahead in the economy are pretty high. And that is also the truth.
It is absolutely the truth, but The other truth is that the Arambai numbers keep climbing,
Mm-hmm,
right? And you keep talking about that mass, that critical mass of Arambai with 3 more in the queue. That'll bring him up to a total of 20 if he can keep them alive and mobile. And that might be all that Tatoh needs. Kind of akin to Hera and his monks in the last game. Sometimes just one singular powerful unit enough in big enough mass can lead you to victory.
Indeed, we see Tatoh now answering with his own light cav, or like he's doing the light cavalry upgrade. So I imagine he's going to add stables and do light cav to try and deal with them with the skirms. But yeah, Hera already has a great economy set up, 43 on food. Like the issue with Arambai is that they need to be a unit that snowballs, right? They need to snowball the situation. Right now, Hera oh god, Tatoh is just running around and like he's looking for damage, but he's not able to find it anywhere. Yeah. Like it's like he comes in here, picks up 3-4 bills, but it's like that's not enough to like snowball the situation in his favor, right? And now Hera has a lot of skirms with ballistics as well, so it's going to be really hard for Tatoh to come out here without serious losses.
Yeah, he's going to try and trade and run his way out of this as effectively as he can, and he is getting good kills on the skirms, but he's taking a lot of damage in return. Ultimately, pretty well navigated, I'd have to say, for the Arambai player, but not okay if he ends up in a stuck position attacking a tent.
Yeah, looking at the resources, Hera is looking towards Imperial Age, Tatoh is looking to add stable units. So Tatoh again with the prolonged Castle Age. This time though it feels like Hera is in a way more comfortable spot than he has been in the previous games, and it's looking really, really good for Hera right now.
Yeah, now reaching out for that castle with being just about 300 food away from being able to click up rather to the Imperial Age. Tatoh a lot of wood in the bank, and as I say it, he thinks to sell some of it, try and balance the eco out as best he can, but nowhere close to the Imperial Age, so it's all about the castle and what he can get done with those Arambai.
Tatoh throwing him out and he shows up behind him. That's Hera villagers, right? They just never stop showing up. But yeah, Hera looking super good. Tatoh again coming in here trying to find some damage. But again, like maximum damage he finds here is 1 or 2 or 3 villager picks, right? The fortified churches also contribute to the defense. And again, for me, Arambai is a snowball unit. He needed to have like maybe a second follow-up castle drop somewhere to like really force the issue. Because right now it's just been a super comfortable game for Hera from start to finish, honestly.
Okay, trying to come up with avenues to victory here for Tatoh. What is the mass of Castle Age Arambai that I need to dive under TCs?
Oof. I mean, your Pierce armor is not great as an Arambai, so you're going to need a healthy amount. I mean, like, the issue here is that there's also fortified church, right?
Right.
If that wasn't there, sure, dive under. You might lose 10 Arambai, but you kill 15 villagers, right?
Right.
That's worth it. But with the fortified church, there's a second place he can hide villagers, and then suddenly, like, it's probably not worth it, right? And we see Monaspa now, an incredibly strong unit that just gets stronger and stronger the more you have.
Yeah, a really difficult position for Tatoh to be in at the moment. He now becomes aware of those Monaspa. He's aware of the castle, both castle positions, in fact. Has a cheeky TC way up into the north, so maybe taking a page out of Hera's playbook and trying to boom his way out of the situation that he knows he's in.
Yeah, we see Tatoh investing more into Castle Age, spending all the food, making a lot of light cav. I mean, Arambai are such a strong unit that they can still fight against Imperial Age units as long as you take the right engagements, right? Like this, for example. I know Hera isn't imp yet, but like this is an army that Hera can never in a million years fight in the current circumstances.
Yep, we got the light cav moving on top of the skirmishers. They'll make quick work of them. It's the Arambai's job to deal with the Monaspa, and right now the light cav are playing a great meat shield to them. That's a solid trade overall, if I say so myself, in the Castle Age here for Tatoh right before his opponent hits Imperial.
And Tatoh just calls it.
Wow.
He calls it upon Hera hitting Imp. And Tatoh is going to sit later tonight and knock his head against the wall, thinking about that arena game.
I'm certain he will. Yeah. I'm certain he will.